pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Minutes for February 24th. I was about ready to say that, yeah, that was Billy.
That's the only thing that I see, and that's not a real biggie. The savings to the state was $562 instead of $500.
Yeah. And maybe Sheila just rounded it down for some reason to 500,000.
562.
Yeah, 562,000 was the estimated savings.
That's the only thing I see, Mr. Chairman.
I
can't find myself now, but that's it.
I had read through them all. You read through them?
Mm-hmm. You want a copy? Here.
Oh.
That's the only thing I see.
That's the other thing I saw.
Give her a chance to look through it.
Yeah.
I had read them this morning, I'm just gonna double refresh them here before I.
Yeah, that's what we get through.
Mr. Chairman, I so move with one correction, 562, and it's not really all that big a deal, I would make a motion to accept it.
A motion? Second? We have a motion second. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Carried 3-0. Okay. Any committee reports for the week?
You just told me I have a project concern next Wednesday, correct?
Yes.
Okay. I have nothing.
I have Chase listed, but you said
Courtney has to come.
you got something. Go ahead.
Thank you.
You can give. since Moking only has 2 storage units.
Do you know this one senior village is HD, where there's about 4 or 5 that are the same amount? Is that in copies, or is that, like, there's 4 or 5 and 457 for senior village? Wow.
Juneteenth comes out of juvenile detention?
What's that?
Juneteenth comes out of juvenile detention? Their
I guess
appropriation?
wrong, because I,
Hold on, what's the number, will you read it to me?
Let's see,
because I tried to get the correct one.
11859-015.
I think that's the right one, we just haven't switched over the names, because we had to change a few things.
That's the thing, I thought I had the
But
right one.
I can look into that maybe downstairs.
But it just shows up as, Department 18, it's juvenile detention.
Yeah,
Oh.
we switched a whole bunch of
Yeah.
the account numbers, so
Okay.
I'll look.
Peggy's coming up with
I believe so.
Yeah.
What is it?
White planks, $457, she's got about 60. White planks, 636
Oh, there's 3 units in the election. There's the, so we have 5 units? We have 5 units out in Mocan? Not 4?
for the trailer.
Well, there's 3 showing.
Four storage in my,
Election.
my election thing. So, I have to pay storage on my election,
Yeah, the trailer.
yeah, that's right.
And then the 2 that are coming out of courthouse general,
Or
where
Dante, there's nothing in them.
there's nothing in them.
There's some shelving.
They were had by 8, there's 2 minutes to go.
So there's the 2.
I had 3.
There's 2 coming out of courthouse general, it's $100, so there's nothing in the storage units.
Lost by 6, I think, I'm gonna take care of that.
When
Okay.
did the vote go? Did I play it?
There you go, if you want to do those.
you don't see a copy of all the credit card charges?
They're usually in there once a month. I believe we were in there 2 weeks ago.
I didn't see them.
Yeah, they're usually, I separated by department, so there's little paper clips at the very top, and each paper clip is a different department,
Okay, I'll start looking.
and then everything's attached to these.
How do we know what department tens, and then,
It's just it right next to it.
oh, okay,
Yeah, county maintenance and then the charges.
just so I know what's
Yeah.
double checking me. All right, I didn't even, I don't know why I was back here, I think there's one that I didn't.
Yeah, those are all under each other.
Okay.
No, that's a good question. You know that salary compensation survey Casey's doing? The Midwest Regional Council is doing that for them.
That was about 119, 150.
175.
175 is what she.
Good, right?
No, that's
Oh, yes, thank you. Wait until.
But you mentioned it, so.
Yes, thank you. We should probably send a copy of this to City of Ashland as well.
okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chase.
Chase?
Well, really, I have two items. I guess I can just open it up from there. I received certified mail from Bettenbaugh on Thursday, a notice of a rate increase, which was kind of surprising because we were supposed to be trying to get our rates down for recycling, and instead they sent me a notice a 1.41 increase due to CPI for both, solid waste and recyclables. And then that there would be an additional $2.24 impact fee for, using the Johnson County transfer, landfill through Deffenbaugh. So, at either of these costs, with the fuel surcharge staying the same, we'd still be able to cover our costs with $35 a ton tipping fee. But it's a step backwards for our recycling, which we were trying to get from our 99.15 down to something much less than that, and instead it's going up. So, the one question that I had about it is that it specifically states in our contract that they need to give us 60-day notification from our anniversary date, which is December 19th, as they cited in the first, on the cover letter. That, so I don't know if we can challenge that or remind them that October 18th or 19th is our, when they.
You ought to go to executive session to discuss
Yeah.
Okay.
that.
Okay, but that's, yeah, that,
So what was the increase on the CPI?
1.41%. That was used. Can't tell you what exactly.
Where does it say I don't see where it says they use CPI as the increase.
That's what's agreed upon in our contract, is, rate increases are tied to CPI and limited to 3% in any given year. The next page has some of the work that they showed for it. Third page is the notice that as of January 1st, they will be charging the impact fee for the City of Shawnee's new, or relatively new ordinance that was, I think, passed in 2011. So, been kind of, I don't know why it's showing up on our bill now, as opposed to that being disclosed when we initially bid or signed our contracts. Because it does say in our contract, I don't know, there's lots of questions that I have about it, so we can go to executive session for that if need be. The other thing is, I have been crunching numbers on the in-house, I guess, any questions on the Deffenbaugh that I can answer in open session? I had been talking to our sales rep, and by all indications, it was assumed that they'd be taken over by Waste Management, which means that we'll redo our bidding process and have a new contract, or if at all possible, you know, if they could do something, but this is kind of a ball, so I don't know where we stand with Waste Management taking over, who's gonna hold our contracts. It's just kind of, was not expecting that. So. And then the next item, I know we discussed looking into and having a collection service within the solid waste department. That's just going to be roll-offs and a trailer. And I've been getting some of the initial, trying to figure out what configuration of open top, closed top, what dimensions of trailers and roll-offs suit our needs while also being the most cost-effective. The one question that I have when you're trying to compare it to when you're what service or services am I trying to compare these costs against is really the question. Is it, I assumed that we'd first start with the Effingham station service, which would be 2 roll-offs for trash and possibly 1 commingled recycling container. and then from there, looking into replace, or having a counter bid or another alternative to using Deffenbaugh's commingled recycling and commingled, or glass containers, having that as a separate service that we could also take over. So those were the two assumptions, was that's what I'm comparing, the cost of the service against the contractual cost that we have with either of those two services. So annually, we spend, last year we changed Martin's trash service. We used to have a third dumpster, or a third trash collection site at the county lake. In April, we did away with that. So we don't actually have a full year of just the Effingham transfer station cost, but we have, I can get an average, I have used an average of what it cost us to have just the Effingham transfer station service, and what we budgeted for was $17,500 to have Martin's Trash Service pick up the 2 containers at the Effingham station. It's an on-call service, 2 30-yard containers. For us to offer a comparable service, we would need to first get a trailer that has the winch and the tipping system on it, so that we can pick up and drop off roll-offs, as well as empty them. The one that would, there are some variations based on what kind of trucks you have available, but after talking with the sales rep, we're looking at $19,500 for the trailer. And then for the 2 open top containers at $3,300 a piece, they're 25, they're not 30-yard roll-offs, but they're 25, relatively the same dimensions. We look at $6,600 for that, to purchase the roll-offs as well. So we look with those 2 considered, we're at about $26,000 for equipment purchases, and then trying to go through modeling how many pickups we would need, how many miles we would cover, the variation in gas prices, trying to figure out how much it would cost us to operate, leaving out salaries, because salaries, I just counted that as a fixed cost. We were going to pay the employee to do either that service or do something else, but there would be no impact.
It's not cost.
Breaking it out, I mean, you can break it out, but comparing the 2, we would pay the same in salaries, so I just left those out.
You would have to take that consideration if you had another employee, though.
And I also assumed that I wouldn't have to, just because even with all the services, we could set 1 or 2 collection days. We're only talking about 6 containers in total, 2 at the Effingham station, so both of those can be emptied on 2 separate days. That's maybe 2-3 hours worth of work. So there's really no, if we needed to add another employee, we're doing something wrong. So whether we ran the service in-house or contracted it out, there would be no impact on salaries or employee costs. But the cost to, the additional fuel cost ranges from $691, assuming certain fuel mileage and gas prices at a low end, and then assuming it at pretty much the worst case scenario, we have about $700 to $1,000 worth of additional fuel costs to provide the Effingham station. So once you start adding, and there are a number of questions that I'm still looking for. Kate needs to get back to me on what it would cost to insure all this equipment, any increases in our insurance liabilities, since we're going to be operating and collecting services, things of that sort. And Protainer hasn't gotten back to me on what the life expectancy of a trailer is, so I know what capital outlays would be, what it would cost to replace everything, average operating costs, average cost of repairs, all that stuff. With all that said, $35,640, so 35.6. With the initial cost and then assuming worst case scenario, a $5,000 a year operating cost for every year after we buy all the equipment, the initial purchases, we're looking at $32,500 to run it in-house, with the cost savings being realized thereafter, because after those first 2 years of buying everything and then having 1 year cost, that 32 with $5,000 at each additional year, when I compared the 5 year, we have about a $30,000 cost savings. Now, there's an asterisk next to that I still don't have a lot of the unknowns of what maintaining the service is, or what the hidden costs are gonna be. So it's still in preliminary phases, but it is looking favorable. And then adding the recycling services, glass also looks very favorable. They haven't gotten back to me on the specific type of container that I would want for recycling, which would be different than the trash. They haven't gotten back to me on the price, but even assuming a 10 cubic yard recycling container costs the same as a 25 cubic yard open top trash container, assuming they cost the same, we're still looking at a pretty good cost savings versus contracting with Deffenbaugh to have them pick up all of our containers. So, there's still, I would say plus or minus a couple $1,000 in added hidden costs for upkeep and equipment maintenance and stuff like that, but it is looking like it's a viable option and depending on what happens with our contracts at the transfer station, or what happens, seeing as how we're no longer gonna be paying the $20,000 for household hazardous waste. So that's a nice cost savings that we're gonna have this year that can go towards a purchase like that, so,
Mark's contract runs to what, December, doesn't it?
and it's an annual renewal.
So,
Right, statewide.
Oh,
I understand.
And then, the one question I did, that still remains.
Statewide. They've been announcing.
Is it a drill or is it just a?
It's supposed to be a,
Test
it's
is
supposed to be
test of the
actual
system.
drill, it's supposed, I think. Because I know Peggy said she couldn't come down because they're doing the drill.
Well, our area would be
Your call.
down here down the stairs. We probably should do a drill. I entertain a motion to,
Drill.
yeah.
So,
Yeah. Oh, I didn't switch me. Second.
So I don't know, we haven't really discussed the timeline on when to make a formal presentation, present to the solid waste committee about this. I'm assuming at the very earliest, it would be the 2016 budget item, because we are under contract, so. I know the initial feasibility that you've asked me to do, it's showing that barring some massive unforeseen costs, that it is something worth noting. Now, strictly from a numbers perspective, that's a separate discussion than, economic impact and having contractors for, I understand that there's another conversation that needs to take place in addition to just running the numbers, so.
Have you, talked with other counties? I mean, have you?
I have, I talked to Riley County's recycling coordinator, and she put me in touch with, a couple other counties that are in our peer size group. They all use Protainer. They use different different, types of equipment, because it's, what they do is, well, first of all, they do source separated, so they get the containers, they're the rolling trailers with 4 different compartments. We wouldn't do that. A recycling program would be pretty much different, in terms of needs and how we use it, but there are other counties that are trying to get into a similar system. I will definitely, there's a Kansas Organization of Recyclers convention at the end of this month, so I'm gonna hopefully find any vendors that have a light service, so that it's not just, getting into, you're committing to one vendor,
Mhm.
because it would be nice to have a very competitive bid for this, so. Then also pick the brains of other counties while I'm there, so that's the plan for getting more information for this particular study or research.
She said annually, what do we spend?
Annually it's 17.5. Well, we budgeted for 17.5. Trying to compare number of loads and pickup costs is closer to 17,820.
So what we spend out the Effingham transfer station, not just the roll-offs?
Yeah, that's.
That's
yeah,
that, okay.
That's that. We did a study, probably 2012, no, 2013, last year, or 2013, putting together trying to do a full cost of running the transfer station out at Effingham, and it was, I don't know if you can, it was in the 40s, I think, when you consider everything. So, if that's a part of the conversation, or again, something completely different as to whether we, discussion about the Effingham transfer station as well, so. Other than that, I'm sitting pat, waiting for Deckenbaugh to give me something substantive, so we can get this contract situation worked out, but, other than that,
And you said your estimated upfront costs for equipment was 30?
it was, just assuming the trash service, it was, about 26,050 for the equipment costs, plus, an assumed, $5,000 in fuel and, like, insurance, and it's just a placeholder until I can get actual numbers back, but that would be I would assume a worst case, or a very bloated guess.
So roughly about 2.5, less than 3-year return on investment.
Yes.
Okay.
Closer to 2.
Okay. And then what do we spend on Deckenbaugh picking up the?
Well, we had it budgeted for 20,000 in combination for glass and commingled, but that was based on having all the containers in town picked up every Friday. Now, we moved one container to the transfer station, so that's gonna cut down on some costs, but it's still cheaper to make the investment on the 4 different containers and have the service, because once you buy the trailer, that's the biggest piece, then it's, pick and choose what service you want to offer, because picking it up and hauling it to the transfer station costs essentially the same base rate plus mileage, so.
This equipment, is it on hand, or do they have to order? Do you have to, how far out do you?
90 days.
90 days.
Mm-hmm. It's nothing really is custom, other than they do custom, body work, paint jobs, graphics for recycling purposes, which if we wanted to do something like that, would probably add a little bit more time, but typically, from placing the order till delivery is 90 days. So.
Well, this is something that would have to all go through the solid waste committee, wouldn't it?
Mm-hmm. Well, it would represent us, offering an alternative to contract services that we have under contract, so yes, would absolutely need to go to the solid waste committee and, try and figure out if other cities are interested, because if it, I mean, if more people want to participate, then that helps everyone, so.
Guess I'd suggest too. Talking with them before we, but it sounds like you're gonna, hopefully we get multiple vendors that.
Ideally, yes, or at least one more than just one, have two vendors at least. So, and they ship from Alexandria, Minnesota, so it's not like it's a Kansas City or,
Contractual talk with Deffenbaugh.
We just talked a little in the hallway, I think maybe, I ought to give you guys all a letter about it. Meet with him and give you a letter instead of just off the cuff.
Okay.
So we'll address it next week.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't schedule a call.
Yeah, and I think we were doing this as an update meeting.
Mhm.
Yeah.
kind of a status report.
How are you holding, budget-wise so far for the year?
Favorably. The first invoice that we received for the month was 13% less than what we did last year. So,
You mean solid waste?
the Deffenbaugh invoice,
Yeah,
which
sure.
is the 40% of my budget. So, we're already off to a good start. And the invoice itself was down, even though we had 3 recycling containers, which is about $3,300 additional cost on top of our trash, so far so good.
The guy that called me about the Effingham station called me on another matter, and he said that you've got that problem corrected, as we talked about earlier. So it's,
So far so good.
I really appreciate it. Thanking you for what you did to get it corrected.
1:15, next Tuesday.
We've usually been reserving, we've been kind of reserving that 1 to 2 o'clock time frame for updates from departments. I mean, you can,
Next Tuesday.
I already have a 1:15 and a 1:30.
Okay. I can do 1:45 or 2 o'clock, let another department get in if they need it.
We're going to do 15 minutes,
Yeah.
if we have anybody,
mm-hmm.
or we're going
No,
to
more than 15 minutes.
put the schedule somewhere.
So 1:45?
Yeah.
That is all that I have.
Thank you.
Josh?
I am here on behalf of Western Lincoln. Unfortunately, he cannot make it today due to a conference up there in Manhattan. He asked me to give you each one of these.
This is Josh Window, our IT tech.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We introduced this when we first came in.
Oh,
And he also asked me to use your guys' signature on this as well. Each one of those is your copy. This is what he asked for the signature on.
Oh, this is those, the sirens.
As far as I know, yes.
I think this is something that we have to act on today. I believe in his email, he said a response to this or something.
I believe so.
So, 2 sirens with, not sure all the, the total cost is $56,283.
This is in his budget to do this.
So there are 2 sirens that I believe are not working or they're having a lot of problems with there.
Just repeat.
Yeah, so everything else I think was 2008, I think is what I was told it was.
Chairman, I make a motion that we sign off on the sirens, purchase of sirens.
I'm sorry, I give the wrong amount, this is, I'm shooting, 48, 842,
842.
yes. What was this, this is 56. Yeah, that's the first one I saw. It's inside page. Yeah, Josh, do you know, we've got, the page that's attached to this is showing Dr. Malkin on the front, do you know?
I'm not entirely sure. Unfortunately, I was just asked to give you a quick percent.
It's a lot less, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
48,000? Is it, does this have the same specs on it?
Different quote number. The one that is 56,000 is quoted on 23rd of January. So the one is February 24th, is at the top right here.
I believe the more expensive one may have been, a service contract they were trying to get us to do as well.
It's the one that's attached. The only, my only question is the amount.
Yeah.
It's different than the one that's attached to it.
And
The one
I think,
that's the same amount that's on the invoices over
Yeah.
here.
I think the secondary one was with, they were trying to get us to their technical support form or something like that. I can't recall exactly what it was. They were trying to get us to sign up for their service contract form and upgrade our software basically. We just need to replace the sirens that weren't functioning properly.
So they would probably be,
Is there a purchase order there?
Yes.
Oh,
it's on here.
okay. You did have it for March the 10th, fiscal year. Was that your purchase order?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. But the, contractor quote sheet that was attached to it was a different amount.
Just attached it all. Okay.
So I attached the correct one to it. Since Les is not here, what other questions do we have for them on? Notes budgeting.
Actually, go ahead with that motion, you do.
We do get a motion, we do not have a motion currently to accept the purchase of, standard storm siren and Eclipse Omni directional storm siren, in the amount of $48,842.44.
I'll make a motion, we accept the bid.
Okay,
I second, Mr. Chairman.
got a motion and a second, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any further discussions? Carried 3-0. just, it was a decision with two different numbers, so.
Yes.
So I went ahead and stapled the $48,000. There was two, but they, yeah, it shows 54,000. Yeah.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you, Josh. Thank you.
Thank you, Anthony.
We have text ink here. We're ready for you if you're ready.
How are you guys doing?
Yeah. Introduce you to, this is, Eric Knoll.
I know, Brent.
Brent.
Jay Watkins.
Jay.
Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you.
They're with Text Ink, and Text Ink, we currently outsource our EMS ambulance service. They run it for us for both facilities, Effingham and Axton, so.
Okay.
Okay, so agenda for today, if there's any questions along the way or that you have, just holler and I'll try to get you up to speed, or one of us will. What we hope to talk about today, or start with at least, were a couple of the things, the truck ambulance bids, and then also the, going back to the information you guys got previously on the heart monitor bid. So kind of talking about everything. So I'll really let Jay, turn over to Jay and let him talk about the truck.
Okay. Well, the specs and bids are trickling in. I've got two different companies I'll present to you. I do have one, I went ahead and printed off one spec sheet. They're like 35 pages long, so I didn't make everybody a copy of them, and it is Chinese, Japanese. I mean, if you read it, it's a good light reading. If you want to, go for it. The first proposal I wanted to show you is from Morton Manufacturing. And there's the breakdown blueprint of it. I don't get to meet this. You bet. That's the first one. What we did, to kind of set the stage, it was really easy to go with this company, with Horton, because we already own these trucks. And we have we have 4 or 5 of them now, total out of our fleet. But we just, what's it been, 4 years, 5 years, 4 years? We took delivery on 2 brand new ones out of Grove City, Ohio. And so we're the most familiar with these. Not trying to, by any way, means or shape, emphasize them, but the proof is in the pudding. We can deal with these guys. We want to be able to get you the best truck for your dollar. So it was real easy to go back without having to reinvent the wheel. Say, hey, spec us out a new truck. Basically the same with what we have, and of course they have to factor in a lot of technology has changed since then, so that causes a little increase in price. When we did, and I'll show you that truck here in a minute. That's not this truck. What I did after that said, okay, we're gonna have to retool this, because I knew I had a dollar range that you guys wanted me to stay within, and so I had to modify this quite a bit, without compromising any safety features, because that is what we really strive to have, the safest truck on the road for our crews. That's really not this truck. We had to modify some of the number one safety feature was called a crash configuration. That's not this truck. This is the truck without a crash configuration, and that means there's not a safety pedestal, for the crew when they sit on the squad bench to take care of the patient who's right there. There's not a pedestal here to catch them, to protect them in a front impact or even a side impact vehicle. And Brent, feel free to interject anytime, when we're talking about this. That's this one. Really the only thing, like I said, this truck came in at just shy of $174,000. That being said, I'll show you a bid from another company, that is, it's hard to really compare ambulances. I can put it in the words of compare road graders. I think we talked to that before. You want a Caterpillar versus a whatever brand. I mean, it's really hard to say, well, here you go, here's a cheaper bid, but you're not going to get the apple, you're going to get the orange. We really emphasize safety, and that's the thing, safety and longevity of the vehicle. And knowing a lot about these trucks, the Horton truck, we can really testify that that is the truck that we have purchased, so that's the truck that we, really stand beside. And just a few of the things that we know for sure are the way it's manufactured, the way the cabinets are extruded aluminum, mounted, welded into the compartment rather than screwed in. They're not wood cabinetry, it's all aluminum. The rear airbags, we have airbags in the rear of our trucks.
And it's the only manufacturer that has airbags intact for patient and crew considerations.
Right.
Okay, this truck was $174.
Correct.
What would it take to get it, the way I say it, this truck's nice, but you would like to have the safety crash, what would that add to this value?
I can tell you real quick. And I have this too, I can leave this with you as well, but it's got so many of my chicken scratches, I'd rather just email it to you if I could. Because I had to whittle so much of it down. It's about $184,000. Right. And it does change a lot. It changes, the thing that we like to see is our crew sitting their butt down and not having to get up and move around when that truck's moving 75 miles an hour down the road. With that configuration, they really, 90% of the time they can do that unless they have to get really busy with the patient. Everything is within arm's reach. We've spent so much time speccing that truck out and getting it the way we wanted it for that goal in mind, is keeping the crew sitting down and not having to get up to grab something. Everything, we designed different drawers, we designed different overhead compartments that they can reach while they're sitting. They can change heat settings, cool settings, turn on and off oxygen, it's all within arm's reach. This truck here, you have to get up. You have to go across the compartment to change things on the action area, to get equipment, stuff like that. There's no way to configure it with, having it all within arm's reach. So that's the big safety thing. The way they build them, it's phenomenal. The other truck, the last truck I'll show you, which I am by no way means or downplaying anybody's product. If they want to come here and battle that out with you, that's fine too. The trucks that we have now, they're fully insulated. They spray foam insulate everything, so it's quiet, stable. The way they mount the box onto the frame, it's not a rigid mount. They mount it on a massive rubber shock. It improves the ride, but it also improves longevity. It makes remounting a lot easier because they don't have to change the structure of the truck. It's a lift off and set on, basically, the way they do it. They crash test them, obviously. We did have to, this other bit I'll show you, we had to talk on the way over because we were not aware that AEV, does rollovers and crash tests and everything, because we've seen the video with the airbag system that we have in our trucks now. I mean, that's what sold us. They showed us the video of how they did the crash test, how they did the rollover test, and it really...
And we went to several, I mean, years past, we've flown and went to several different manufacturing companies, you know, of ambulances, and toured their plants and saw how they did stuff and all that.
So that's that truck. I can show you, I'll hand you this spec sheet too, and you can kind of compare. It's written, this is the basically 184,000 truck. And this is the crash config. This is the spec, basically the spec sheet of the trucks that we run in our fleet now. And it is quite a bit more complex. Like I said, Brent, when we were done with this, they were so impressed at the factory that they were going to keep this and put it as a model for a recommendation for trucks. That they would, if somebody is having trouble speccing a truck, they were going to pull this out and say, look at this, and go from there, because they were that impressed with the way we did it. And I can revisit. We always have the option of going to a pre-engineered truck. It's kind of like a prefab home. And we talked about that at one of our previous meetings. It's basically cookie cutter. It goes through the factory. They make it how they make it.
Kind of generic.
Very generic. No frills, no rear airbags, no crash configuration. It's all done up. They roll it out, they paint it, and they say, here's your truck. And that's quite a bit of a cost savings. I mean, if you want to go that route, that truck's around $120,000. So we fall back into, this really isn't the truck that we want to get out on the street, but. That is an option.
Are those generic ones crash tested too, or?
The boxes will be the same. The inside cabinetry will be different. It won't be the molded cabinetry. It'll be bolted on, riveted on type cabinetry. I mean, they do everything they can to cut costs. They don't insulate the interior. They don't insulate the underneath. And it doesn't have, you know, crash config or rear airbags, anything like that. So.
And another thing to consider is, as we move forward, you know, some of these boxes, which we've already done, you know, we've remounted, we've taken boxes off of old chassis. Those last two trucks, we took off old chassis and put on new chassis. So one thing to consider if you're thinking about, you know, where do you spend the money, if you're looking at a box that you might use in the future, which we already have in this case, think about possibly a box that has a little bit more quality into it, so that at the future you can remount it. Now, remounting obviously saves money. There's no doubt about that. But
Are we adding a truck, or are we?
We'll be taking one away. There's a truck that's parked out in the rescue building that doesn't get used anymore, basically. It's just antiquated and
it's met the end of it. Yeah.
It's
Okay, that's actually, this is my first.
No.
So.
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
Coming up with, you know.
So this would be actually a full replacement. That's why
Mhm.
we're talking new trucks.
Sure. Well, when you're talking about, you know, adding boxes, so that's where I was talking about, it must be a
Now, the
replacement.
two previous ones were remounted.
They were like, was it 140? What do we get? What would it cost on those remounts?
I was thinking 150 for the
I
75.
feel like it's about 140.
For both.
Yeah.
But see, that's not,
Oh, for two.
that's a
We
nice part of
remounted.
I
remount.
think it was around 75 a piece.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
And what is, like, without a crash or anything like that, what would a box like that's on these trucks, or your good one here, how long would that be good for?
Well, the nice thing about it too is, like, the companies that we deal with, they warranty their boxes. for basically the life of the box, forever.
As long as you're running,
And if you remount it, they renew the warranty, everything renews. So really, you always have, as far as, degradation, things like that, things that shouldn't break, shouldn't happen off, they warranty it, as far as the structure. And it's all structure, believe you me, I'm daily working on, solenoids or vacuum modules or things like that. There's tons of things in the truck that just go wrong or go bad.
and what kind of vehicle is underneath it?
It's a Ford E450.
I'm just curious for what would they put under?
Yeah, everything that we spec is the E-Series, the 450, van, cab chassis. Gas engine.
What would be the chance of getting one with a nicer box with 20,000 miles? You mentioned that at one time. Slim to none?
It's once in a while. Will they have a demo?
Yes.
Yeah.
And then what would the savings be or something like that?
It would be, if it's a brand new demo, and a lot of times, I don't think I've ever seen a demo that many miles. They usually keep them under 10,000. It's usually around between 5,000 and 8,000, and they only usually discount you about $5,000 or $10,000.
That's good ballpark. They start looking at something like
If they've got one, we'll build you a brand new one for 185, well, I'll say it's demo for 175, if you'll take it now. And we'll paint it whichever, they'll do all that, but it's still,
What would just like repair my head, what would one of the ones that we remounted, if that was just brand new, what would that ambulance, one of those currently run?
Probably 120.
Well, I don't know.
It's probably-
That would be that would be in that 120 range.
probably pretty close to that.
So this one's so the 174 is definitely more customized than what those other two
Correct.
were.
Yeah. And the thing with the crash configuration is, I don't want to sidetrack you or derail you with thinking you have to have that. I'm just,
Sure.
I want to make sure that you guys are aware that this is what's out there. This is some pretty cool technology that, hell, we could even bring one of our Jackson trucks over that has it, so you could see it, and understand kind of what, you could see the truck that we spec, from the ground up. We didn't pull any drawings from nothing. We said, this is what we want here, this is what we want here. We want it this tall, we want it this wide, and they built it without anything stock, so.
Well, I think we have to make a decision because, I think we have approximately about 223,000 total. We were looking at doing the 2 heart monitors and the ambulance, so.
That's always right here.
I know, so I'm not, I don't know what kind of thing, but
that's the other
I don't want the low end, but I don't know, the high end seems on the high end, I guess, as far as.
I don't disagree.
I'm not saying that it's bad.
No,
I'm not saying the options are bad, but
I don't disagree.
is there anything we could do to?
Because we're looking also at needing to purchase another truck and another service, and we're thinking, dude, you're gonna have to shave that off. Can we get, what can we get, and there are things that we can modify that, we can go back and say, line item 10, scratch it. This cabinet, we don't need it. We don't need Corian countertops. It's really nice to keep clean, and it's a safety feature as far as I'm concerned, because nothing permeates it. So if you get blood all over it, you can wipe it off and not worry about it. If it's a painted surface, you never know. Just things like that we really paid attention to the detail, that we can take some of that detail. I don't know if it's worth tens of thousands of dollars, but, that's when that's when I'm gonna have to show you the orange.
Okay.
And let you guys kind of understand that this is the AEB, this is a completely different manufacturer. We do have one AEB in our fleet up at our Nemaha County station. He didn't send any drawings, this was the one we were waiting on that kind of lagged us. But it's pretty to the point, what they'll do, what they'll make for us. Yeah, they put on here, they do a 20-year, and that's pretty standard, 20 to 25 years. And that, when I say the life of the truck, dude, if you get 20 years out of the truck,
Yeah.
you're doing really good.
I farm, so I know all about it.
Sure.
You know, that's got a full 30 of it.
Well, it's hard for us to compare without,
It's very hard.
you know,
Without the, and that's the hard part about, getting these guys motivated, and this, and I'll be point blank, this guy didn't seem very motivated. I tried to get a guy from Rocky Mountain Emergency Vehicles out of Colorado. He was out of his office for a month. I got a hold of these guys because we dealt with them before, thought, you know what, we've got one of their trucks, they're gonna get right on it. I had to hound him and said, can we get a bid, can I get a spec sheet and drawings? I even, which I don't hardly ever do, is reveal my truck, our truck. I faxed him, or I scanned and emailed a set of Horton drawings and said, here you go, this is what we want, duplicate this. So, I'm not trying to downplay him or anything, I'm just saying it was pretty frustrating with this. I had to finally, again, call him last night, and he finally said, yeah, I'll email you something tomorrow. And this is what he emailed me.
So, question for you guys, something for you guys to think about. So if we look at one of these mid-grade trucks, we go back to the drawing board a little bit, look at these mid-grade trucks, kind of depict what is most essential, what's not. I mean, we kind of did that with one of the mid-grades, but look at what's most essential, what's not, and then look at the heart monitor situation as well, and then see if, the other thing is that, I think, the replacements, the Zoll replacements, the replacements that have been the LifePak 12s that we have had, the heart monitors there, if you guys are willing to do a trade-in on those, then I guess my question is we put all that together, we look at it and figure out how to stay under 223, or, I mean, what's the goal?
I think if we could configure in with those parameters, 'cause that's the amount that we have budgeted, that we ultimately have budgeted between, those three items. That's just my personal opinion.
what was the monitor you had to say one monitor?
Well, so like the last time we've given quotes on the two heart monitors, so the two heart monitor prices, which is really, I mean, it is really competitive, but it was just a hair over 61,000 for two. Yeah. So thinking if we could shave off maybe some items on the truck, and then talk to them a little bit more about trade-ins, or if you let them know where you're at sometimes, or know what you can do, they'll be more apt to work with you if you're serious about it. So maybe we could talk to them again, shave a few things on the trucks, on one of the mid-grade truck proposals, and then are you guys willing to trade in the old heart monitors, I'm assuming?
I don't know if we even talked about that. If we did, or, I mean, what can we do with them currently? Do we have like multiple different kinds, or do we have just one?
I mean, our recommendation, the best thing to do would be to trade them in. That way, because you're getting new ones anyway, and the older ones are just gonna sit and collect dust.
So it would go from talking about 2 to 4 monitors?
No. Stay with the 2 new ones. But the 2 new ones that are coming in, there would be 2 that wouldn't be needed anymore. Just trading those in on those 2.
Have a trade-in like a car, send.
Yeah, one for one trade-in.
And the trade-in that they're giving us, you will never be able to sell this monitor for that.
And how many total monitors do we have?
Total
For each?
one for each.
We have 4.
Yeah.
So we would trade off the true 2 worst.
Correct.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay. Just making sure.
Without it.
Yeah.
I mean, they don't know they're just getting they know it's an old monitor, and their values are pretty much the same as long as they have the main parameters, 12 lead.
And you're not sure what those would be. I would have a problem with trading those off. If you have 2 that are not really functional.
I mean, whatever you get.
Well, let us go back.
What do we do with them if we don't trade them off?
Right.
Let us go back. We'll contact the heart monitor company. We'll contact. We'll probably go through the spec sheets again and talk to the ambulance manufacturers, and we'll see if we can, you know, it may not be everything that, you know,
I think we can.
we want, but I think we can do it.
So are you guys purchasing like another ambulance too at the same time, or?
Not at the same time.
Not at the same time, okay.
No, not now.
I'm just curious, like, if we have any, a lot of times we have counties around us that will let us piggyback if they've spec'd out an ambulance, but I don't know what, I haven't talked with anybody about that, or sometimes, obviously, it's state contracting, I don't know if the state has a contract on ambulances or not.
Well, there's the other, are you gonna ask me about the?
Yeah, do you guys have a GPC or an FIN number?
Federal identification number, yeah.
Ford?
Yeah.
For Ford?
Yeah.
If I can get that from you too, that, I am not 100% sure that that was factored in, because when I got, this is from Steve Isaacson, the Horton dealer, he's hot on that, he's like, man, if they have that, I need that too, and I didn't have it at the time, because I wanted to get the bid, I wanted him to get them figured, so that may, I'm not guaranteeing it, that may be another cost savings too, because that's like another $4,000 right there, so.
This one here was the generic, basically the way you talk about a generic truck.
That one's AEV, that one's a different company.
Different company, but that's not the generic one.
The generic, I'll show you that, I'll give you that.
And where do you go with the generic one? That's just like what Horton had? Or
Yeah.
That's, okay.
Yeah, this is what, they just, I think when they have downtime and they're not filling orders, they're building trucks, and they call them these pre-engineered or whatever, and they just whip them together. They're all the same, nothing changes, and out the door they
How much
go.
is that like a state contract? I mean, that's a pretty big piece of equipment. Usually there's a massive like state.
Well, we can check on that again, but the
Purchasing
state
contract.
used to have one, but it was through, I think it was through Wheel Coach, which is a very,
Don't even go there.
Okay. I'm just asking.
I'll just tell you from our expertise
Yeah.
is.
this is your decision, but I mean, our recommendation is we wouldn't tell you guys anything different than what we would want to do
Yeah.
for ourselves.
Do you know of any counties around us that are using the E-450s on ambulances? I mean, are there any counties surrounding us that?
Like using the 450, you mean, that
Yeah.
chassis?
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, I mean, there are,
We kind of set
The Ford 450 or the 450?
the E450.
E-450, are there any?
Yeah, with the gas engine, we kind of set the stage in the state of
Okay.
Kansas, believe it or not. I had services from out in western Kansas calling me, wanting to know, hey, what do you think about these, because we're getting ready to buy something. I'm like, dude, it's pretty new yet, and we only had like 20,000, 30,000 on them at that time. But I said, so far they're performing well. Now we're up to 80, 90, +1,000 miles on them, and the V10s are
we've had minimal issues.
really proven themselves to be a good.
I'm surprised they went
Okay.
gas, I figured everything was diesel now.
Yeah, well, there are diesel options,
Yeah.
but then, you know that,
They're higher.
the same, yeah, I mean, it's another
10
$10,000.
plus.
10 plus.
Yeah.
Because then you usually have to go with the F chassis, the Ford truck chassis, to even get the Scorpion diesel.
Oh.
What's the chance of this 184 going down any? Do you think that is the very best price they're gonna give us?
No. I mean, that's when we go back and say, take this off, you know? And that's kind of what I had him do to get down to that 173. I said, take away the crash configuration, put an ALS cabinet in, move the door. I mean, it's a lot of reconfiguring of the footprint. But that's where I started. I said, let's get a truck down, 10 or 15,000. I said, well, let's do this. I just kind of started at the top, found the big ticket items. We can go through and find air horns and, flashers or whatever. If we can start, whittling stuff down where we're not compromising the safety of the crew and the vehicle.
Okay, in your opinion, when you draw this up,
Hmm?
do you think there's excessive bells and whistles on it, or is this something you think is what you'd like?
That's a tough question.
Yeah.
But I'll answer it honestly. I'll say yes, because that's what we wanted. We wanted to roll out with not only the safest
not only the most beautiful truck you're gonna see, but the coolest thing you're ever gonna see too. And the cool factor does come with a little bit of, you know, dollar figures, and, you know, we could down the cool factor and probably come down, you know, a few grand. I guarantee you we can find some.
I mean, if you pull off some options, you can start,
Like privacy windows, I took
Decreasing.
privacy windows, I think, off of the mid-grade, you know, these are just things you don't have to have, but, you know, that was an option that we thought, you know, we want privacy windows. and-
What are like, so like, I know there's associations, like EMS associations in the state of Kansas. What's like kind of the general norm, or what are you seeing as far as like trends, like what are most counties or?
Well, we see them trending now away from, if they're going medium duty, which is a heavier truck yet, they're getting away from the GMC and going to like Freightliner and International, which
I
is
see
that.
it's international as well.
We actually have an International in our fleet, it's an '06, but,
there's a couple of those sprinters running around in the state.
Oh, yeah.
But I mean, you know, I think, I will concur, you know, last time we talked, you had mentioned like trying to keep the fleet.
Yeah, no, I'm just asking.
Yeah, pretty similar, and you know, the E450 platform with the gas, it's different than driving a diesel, I mean, no doubt about it, it's got different characteristics and things like that, but it is done very well. I mean, we've got some trucks several trucks that have got 100,000 miles on them or so, or close to it, and we haven't had hardly any problems with that chassis.
Yeah, that was when we had them, they asked, like, basically, like, what do we want to start with, the E450, those two that we, had the box remounted and redone on new chassis, basically, those are E450s, and so I was thinking the Southwest Airlines principle is they run one model, and so it keeps costs and
Sure.
it keeps a lot of things just kind of floating in one thing to work on, where we got three different types of invoices right now. One of them that's we're looking at replacing, it's I think it's a Ford, I'm not sure what year it is.
The one that's been replaced.
The one that we're gonna replace, that green and,
So we
is
remounted
that
two.
Medic 3? No,
Yeah,
that's
that's
Medic 3, that's it.
Medic 4 is the one that's gonna be replaced.
Yes.
There was two, the Medic 3 and Medic 5, they had, the boxes were in pretty good shape, but the chassis had a lot of miles on them. So, the first thing we did was, you know, it was $150,000 for two. So, I mean, it saved a lot of money initially. So, remounted those on some new chassis, new paint, you know. So, I mean, they're brand new ambulances. I mean, the box is considered a Generation 2, because it's the second chassis it's been on. But those are brand new ambulances, you know. The Medic 4, the problem with it is it's seen a better day. I mean, it is box and chassis is just kind of on its last leg. And so the thought is replacing it with whatever. So here are some thoughts. What if we did some more calling? I mean, this is what we do every time anyway, but do some more calling. We'll check on the, see if the Ford number is in, the Ford discount is in here, for one. We'll see, about trade-in value on the heart monitors. We'll also check on, I mean, I wouldn't hold your breath on this one, but trade-in value on that old one, I mean, don't have any false illusions, it's not worth much. But we.
50,000.
Yeah.
6 to 8.
And, I mean, if you could sell it for that, do it.
Oh, really?
Seriously.
You wouldn't even get 6 or 8,000?
What do you think, Jay?
I'd say they would probably offer you maybe 2,500.
So if you have someplace else to sell it, then great.
That's the sad thing about them. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
You could sell a
Flex will.
power stroke diesel to some guy who needs to put a power stroke diesel in his truck for probably $2,500.
Cheaper than the motors.
Okay, this is just me, but let me ask you guys a question. I would like to go with the crash truck versus the other one, because you're talking 10,000. If we could get that legal down, quit like it is for maybe 175 to 80, and then see what the trade-in values are on the monitors. And what if we'd have enough money to buy the better truck and buy one heart monitor, and then Tech buys the other heart monitor.
And then do what was the last part?
Then you buy the other heart monitor.
Oh, then we buy the other heart monitor.
Now, that's just me. You guys chime in?
I'll let you
Do
check.
you agree or disagree, or?
Um,
I think you're coming into it.
yeah, I really can't say anything because I am so kind of overwhelmed on this. 'cause
Yeah, and I knew,
There's a lot.
from that, I give you a ton of information to digest.
Yeah. I mean, I have nothing that I'm questioning on either way, so, I mean, I'm kind of just taking it all in right now, and if I hear something, I'll pipe in, but
No, that's
I
fine.
can't comment.
I'd like to stay within the parameters, that total amount, and it's not that I don't think that that this is not a good ambulance, this is a very good ambulance, but if we can keep it where we can still purchase the 2 heart monitors with the trade-in value, so you're gonna check on the trade-in value.
Trade-in value for,
Heart monitors.
for discount, pricing, maybe trade-in values on Medic 4, those type of things, and then see what, and we can press, I mean, the thing about Horton is they are a quality product, but I think we can talk to them because we've done.
When he
a lot of
comes to me and
business
says,
with them,
plus we could probably do 1,000 good customer discount, and I said, 1,000, really, 1,000? And he goes, well, so there's,
So,
that's where we come in and
What-
say, let's.
Just rough numbers, what do you think we would get trade-in value possibly on those heart monitors?
Tony, do you have that number handy, or is that, can you email that to me?
Oh, email it, oh, we'll have your email.
5,000,
Okay.
maybe more.
For both or just each?
Per.
Per, so.
So, I mean, see, there's
Yeah, and you said it was,
there would be another 10
What was
plus.
it for the,
At Gmail.
no, for a new one, what was the cost for a new one? 31 per.
30, yeah, 30.
So about 62 for both, so you're down about 52.
Well, no, it wouldn't be, well, not with the trade, yeah, are you figuring?
Yeah, I'm just thinking like rough math in the head. So
So-
we're at 52,000.
So yeah, so if we can get all those factors into play and bring that down, then maybe we can make everything work.
Yeah.
And I'll go back to the drawing board with crash config and see what, I'll fine tooth comb that thing again. And
I mean, we understand you guys have to stay in budget, everybody has to stay in budget, so we have some items to, some wiggle room on a few items, so let us see what we can do to put the whole thing together.
I could kind of like stand with something that's very standardized, so you don't have one
Yeah.
make and model, and I would imagine that would be easier too, if it's similar ambulance going from one crew would go from one to another, that
Yeah.
things aren't stashed here in this one, and is that the way it would go? I mean.
that's one thing that we do really bear in mind when we do this, to make sure even if we have an older truck in the fleet, we try very hard to keep the configuration as similar as we can.
We still have, so after this replacement, we still have one older one, that's Medic 1, is that right?
Medic 2.
Medic 2, sorry, I get the first mixed up. Medic 2, and that's actually very low miles for the year, but it's a Parachrome, it's got the,
It's got a 6.0 Ford diesel, I don't know if you're familiar with it or not, that was the Caboo engine.
The trouble.
So have you had trouble with the engine on that one, or is it just you anticipate the trouble?
we got a few things with it.
I did find out though, if you guys want to spend about another $5 or $6 grand on that truck, they say that it will eliminate any diesel problem you have with that AGR conversion kit or whatever. Costs you around $5,500, and they said, you'll never have another problem with that. I'm like, put it in writing.
They promised that.
Yeah.
Guarantee me that.
Yeah, I wanted to know.
Yeah, we've heard similar
Yeah.
things with that vehicle before.
Well, you was talking about that one, then what are they anticipating having to do something with that one then?
At some point in the future, I mean, I think we're trying to get, well, we didn't expect it, so when we took over the ambulance service and, it was before we took it over, it was November of, was that 2012? We're in year 3. Yeah, 12. So was that November 12? No, January 2012. You took over, correct?
January 13th.
January 13th, okay, so November of 2012, before we took service, those two ambulances like died, like literally. So they were Ashland Hospital ambulances, and we basically had to start working on replacing before we took over the whole system. So
They were just not maintained well,
Yeah.
and things like that, been road
Kind of a big shock factor.
It's kind of the same situation with the heart monitors.
That's one
I mean,
too.
These heart monitors are,
And so what we're trying to do, if we can get to a regular rotation schedule, is we want to avoid having the first two ambulances, and those are, we did the boxes, I don't know if we necessarily be able to do that again, I don't know what the condition will be of those boxes, but you may have to be looking at a new ambulance, so if we get to a staggered replacement schedule, then we aren't.
Now, this number two, would it have
So-
a pretty good box on it?
well, yeah, that's what I was gonna, so here's the numbers, but these are from the first of the year, so this is January
Oh,
first of
yes,
this year.
I'm sorry, you're right.
Medic 4, which is gonna be replaced, it's got like 208,000 plus, okay? And it's just in overall poor condition, but Medic 2, it's got, as of the first year, about 91,000. So it's got some miles to go, makes a good transfer truck to Kansas City or to St. Joe, and the box is actually in pretty decent shape. So the thought is that, you know, if we continue to put the miles on it in the appropriate time frame, so it rotates out at the right time, then that truck could come back in for maybe a remount, and it would be a pretty good cost savings.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Sorry.
This one is gonna be a new one, next one will be a remount.
Yeah. And that's just based off of
I
what
think
you're,
I
what
think
you
we're
have.
on
But those other two, I would say like those other two that we remounted, we may not be able to remount those two
No, but
coming
we're-
around the next, when we replace
Oh,
those.
you're looking at what, 4 or 5 more years?
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, I'm not saying anytime soon, I just want to be prepared
Easy.
when that.
You know, I'm getting back to
crossing
this,
bridge.
this truck here, let's say it's $10,000 more. Well, then over the last how many years, 7 years from the problem? So you're basically, you know, $1,000 a year is what you're talking about.
Mhm.
I would like to go with the safety truck. I'd like to get the price down a little bit, but not take too many of the stuff away.
Okay.
And when I talk about taking stuff away, I'm talking about like, instead of going stainless steel, let's go extruded or stuff like that, and that does add up. I mean, when you take out something as far as like a cooling system, you know, where you think, oh, that'd be cool to have, you know, you're talking sometimes $1,700-1,800. I mean, so those $1,700-1,800 bucks add quick. And, you know, I think there's some wiggle room, so.
So give us a little bit more time on this, and we'll,
When's your debt?
yeah, when do you have to know? Are you guys under restraint on that? Is it a loan, is it a loan or what?
Okay, I didn't know if you had to have
I
something.
mean, I have to be able to
It's a loan that you've already got.
So it's good, okay, all right.
The other one's just sitting there dead, it's not doing us, and, you know, we're hoping to try and extend the life of those other two instead of mileage building up on those two ones that we just redid a few years ago. That would be my goal, so we can space out, so we
Sure,
are
no, that's great.
Yeah.
putting all of our miles on them.
Any other talk on trucks, heart monitors, any other stuff? Questions?
Are we all agreements that we're gonna go with this truck like here?
Sounds good to me.
So there's no use going back here for this one, just.
Well, I think this one's like no detail.
Concentrate on that.
Concentrate on what you want.
Okay. I don't know if it's bad or good or not, to tell you the truth.
We, so on a different note, just an update that we didn't have last time. We had a pretty good, I don't know if I have an extra one of those or not, year-end updates. Did Mike leave his stuff, would you have gotten that stuff or not?
The run sheets?
No, it's a year-end update that we had,
I haven't gotten anything.
No.
Unless
Okay.
you left it here.
let me, that'll just kind of get you up to speed a little bit. Let me work on that. But what I was gonna tell you guys, this is something that came up since the first of the year. We, held interviews, applications and interviews, and we had, people within our service interested in a lieutenant's position. So we've got a kind of a management structure developing, it's kind of the professional development we talked about before. Anyway, we ended up hiring, I mean, they were already hired as paramedics with us, but we promoted 2 people to lieutenant, which is kind of cool. They'll get additional responsibilities and pay and things like that, but it's kind of promoting professional development within the service. So 2 people got promoted to lieutenant here just a week or a couple weeks ago, so. Other than that, the only other thing we had was, was there any discussion we wanted to have on that, or?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
And Pat, do we need contractual discussion, do we need?
Yeah, I don't think there is an exception that allows for an executive session for that.
Okay.
So you can have an exception probably.
Okay, good. So last time, that Pat and I had met with both of you, I think there were just a few things that we were working on and contractual, has that been updated, or where are we at with? I think it was like a few minor things, I think is what.
We haven't had any discussion since then.
Okay.
I didn't take it that I was to be drafting a modification.
Unless you did that, there were just like a few minor things, I think we were just.
Okay. Did you want us to draft that, or? Or would?
Honestly, I don't recall.
What if I have listed, there was only like a few, you took notes, or somebody took notes on,
Yeah, I'm sure I have them.
I don't think they were anything major, but there was just
Right.
a few minor. About January 30th. So Pat and I had met with Brent J. In January, so our current contract is, it's a 3-year contract with the option to renew for 2 additional years. The contract, we are in year 3 currently, am I correct? Yeah. And so, we met to discuss to extend that contract, or that option to renew for additional 2 years. I believe, the amount, to provide the service was still, at current $680,000.
That's correct.
Yes, correct. So, right now, we're currently paying $680,000 annually to, run the ambulance service. Now, we do own, the equipment, obviously equipment purchasing, and then, also the facilities that they're housed in. So we have, from those expenses, any expenditures like routine maintenance, I think it's under $1,000, something like that.
All the human resources
All
stuff,
that.
payroll, insurance, all that stuff. Yeah, and for, maintenance, it's kind of a shared thing. I mean, we'll cover anything up to $1,000, and if it's a big item, then the county will take care of it after that, but I think that's happened like once. That's not the norm. So we usually cover it because it's usually less than $1,000, or we do individual services so that it doesn't get up that high or whatever.
Yeah. So, basically, there were just a few minor, I think, changes that we talked about, or Pat suggested, I think you suggested.
Yeah. I think there was anything.
So it comes for the same amount?
Correct, for 2016 and 2017. Correct.
Yeah, because 15 finishes up year 3, yeah, correct.
Okay.
And do you want to have that bid to end on December 31st, 2017, or?
When we started in
January 13th.
was it January, I think you started right at the beginning of the 13th? Oh, was it?
Yeah, it's got to be, I think it's an odd date. I don't think it was.
For starting?
When did you start?
It was
You were like
January
1,
1,
literally.
yeah, January 1.
We were talking about
2013.
So, for next week then, should we submit a draft of the contract?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're comfortable, we've been happy with the service that you've provided and would like to continue that on. So I think just a few minor changes, I think we'll give a draft of that contract, if that's, I mean, please chime in on what your thoughts are, that's what I would suggest.
I haven't heard of any complaints or anything, so, of course, I haven't been in this chariot. But, things seem like it's running smoothly as far as I've heard.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yeah. So I think we'd be more than happy, to get I think it's just a few minor changes, we get that drafted. I know Pat needs to coordinate with you, I know that we.
Yeah, I can email it to you.
Okay,
I
yeah.
think it's a few minor things, we'd be more than happy to, extend that contract another 2 years, to keep you in touch with him.
Thank you. I appreciate it. We try to work hard for you guys, so.
Yeah, we appreciate it.
Do you want, so you're gonna send us a draft, and then do you wanna meet next, week? Is that what you're thinking, or?
Yeah, I don't know, but you need to come back if we have an agreement on
Oh, okay.
things.
It's up to you, but, I mean,
Well, I mean, if there's nothing to discuss, I mean, it was pretty cut and dry, and
yeah. Yeah, like I said, it's just a few minor ones, I can't remember, I just remember you had wrote some stuff down, I think
Yeah.
maybe you or Jay, one of you putting some stuff down, but
Okay,
we're happy to do that.
sounds excellent.
So,
Is there anything else?
You have to take action on it. You need to make one.
But I'll tell you,
Contract, yeah. Do it next week.
Thank you. We appreciate it.
We might
We really do.
We might say no now.
Ah,
We could just lost 20,000 we shaved off that truck.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion, 30,000.
30,000.
When you go, before the end of the
Yeah.
Yeah, it seems like any type of piece of equipment, no matter what you purchase, it seems, at the government level, once they find out it's for government use or non-public commercial, it just seems like that price goes up 20%.
Yeah.
It's like an automatic, markup, so.
You think that, they think the same thing with medical fields.
Yeah, yeah, any specialty type of vehicle, yes.
All right, well, sounds good. Wait to get that, and
Yeah, just give us an update on what you can find out with
Yep,
Amos.
I've already
Get the
texted him,
FIN.
said I need to meet
Okay.
with you, and Pauline's gonna email me the FIN, and I'll get that to him to make sure it's in or not in, and we'll keep plugging.
Okay,
sounds good.
be great.
Okay. Appreciate it, guys.
Yep.
Thank you for coming up.
Thank you. Nice to meet you. Excuse me.
I think
We're ready for you.
Ready for me?
Absolutely.
Okay, all right.
Always ready for you.
Here is, cost report, Medicaid cost report. Peggy House.
I'm sorry, Eric Knoll.
Eric Knoll.
Hi.
So Peggy's our administrator at Senior Village.
Oh, okay, sure.
So, Medicaid cost report, and, we do it every year, has to be in by February 28th. Jeff, took care of the signature page last week, because it was after your meeting. Kind of, recaps all of our expenses and, revenues in a different format than the county uses. So, puts it into cost centers that relate to nursing homes. And then our Medicaid reimbursement will be calculated off of this about 2 quarters down the line. So they look at what we spend, and then they start basing our costs off of, or our reimbursement off our costs. So accountants compiled it, and so that's our first step. We'll have our Medicare cost report, it'll be due in April. This is our first step.
How many, I haven't asked you so long, but, residents, how many residents are we typically, averaging?
Our average last year was a little lower than normal, because, we took on this Medicare piece,
Yeah.
which means that you have more out and more in, and so it changes.
Oh, okay.
often, whereas previously, you know, we move someone in and they'd be there for the rest of their life. Now we take 10 days, 20 days, or 100 days, and so, but today, we are at 53 residents, tomorrow we'll be at 54, our capacity is 54.
Okay.
So, but it will change. We could, I mean, I hate to say it, we could have several go home in a couple days, some die, you know, it's always going to stay at flux.
How has the facilities been holding up? I know for a while we were having some problems with roof and, okay.
Oh, we keep up, it's not so much problems, we keep up with all of those things, but yeah, the roof, the flat roofs now have been, re-roofed.
Okay.
We've been, working on a lot of the flooring in the resident rooms. One of the things we just finished, I didn't know you wanted to finish, peak report, Pauline said you kind of want to State of the Union, so to speak. You want me to?
State of the Senior Village.
State of the Senior Village. Some of the things we've been working on is trying to, and we always do this, update it to be a little more home-like. You know, you've seen it sometimes when we visited. So, you know, the old square linoleum tile, like we have out here, is what we're in every bedroom, and so slowly we're still using linoleum, but wood, it looks like wood planks. So one by one, we're changing those rooms over, and some moves out, so we have to repaint and do all those things, so update it. We now have, the residents now call it the man cave, one of the TV rooms. We've got a bigger TV, because our TV died, put a big screen on the wall, and instead of the chairs that were in there, we put recliners in there. So it's now, I'm telling you, all men. It's all men.
Who has the remote?
Don't know why. Oh, what?
Who has the remote?
Who knows?
Be a fight over the remote.
Yeah, but it is pretty funny, because it used to be a lot of women in there, and now it's all men, and so, all good. So, anyway, we've been updating it. We just finished our peak evaluation, which happens each year. And we're in level 2 peak. They have some facilities have not started, some have in level 1, we're in level 2, and we're working level 3 is the highest. And essentially, what you're doing is taking away from the old nursing home here. So, no noise, no beeping, no alarms on people, no nurses stations. You know, the idea is to make it more home-like, giving everybody their choice. When you get up versus everybody gets up at 6 and you only person 7, people want to sleep until 11, they can. So anyway, the 3 focuses that we took this time that we were successful in is one was bathing, and it kind of changes things around so that people have more control, and we redid the bathroom so that people can do a lot of things independently in the bathing room. So candles are down here, so if they want to shower themselves, we can stand by, they pull the curtain. So we did bathing, we did resident room space. So I know that the last time you visited, we probably showed you the K-State rooms. Resident has K-State, and then has flames on his wall, and I mean, everybody's different. So the women choose their own paint colors, and put in the new floors, and then we also worked on common space. So we put putting green in the back, some swings, so we had a team of staff that got together and they just worked on checking out what residents wanted, and so that's what we've been working on for the last year. Next year we'll work on 4 more and 4 will get to the top, so.
Good.
So that's where we are with that. We're getting survey ready. We are in our survey window, so, hopefully we do well. So our quality indicators are high, they're all in good shape, meaning, residents, no pressure sores, medications, unnecessary medications. There's all kinds of things we work on to keep our quality indicators high. So, you know, we certainly will be good, but it's always a snapshot. Depends how my staff perform on those days and what they say and what they do, and sometimes you never know.
Sure.
So, that's kind of where we are. Wes and Josh are still working on, we have this problem with our call system, and we're working on getting the computer replaced, and they're gonna try and mirror it so that if it ever happens again, we have it up there.
Okay.
So that's kind of,
That's right. Build a system upgrade and
yeah, phone system.
buy some computers and other stuff too.
Yeah, computers, we're pretty good on our computers, but every year we'll have to replace some, and we realize that this call system, this computer, it's specific to this system. And it's 3 years old, and we thought it was built for 5, but it's not a computer, it's on 24/7,
Okay.
all the time. So, Les and I talked about, we'll kind of getting the schedule, so we are ready in 2.5 years. So it doesn't get sort of down and think that all of us were there walking the halls all night. So we got back ready. Anything else? Any questions? Okay, all right.
Big report.
It is a big report, and then the Medicare one will be even bigger, and it really, it takes all the finances you already see, and it just puts it in their cost center, so.
Do you need this back?
Nope, that's yours.
Thank you.
One for
Thank
you.
you very much.
All right. Hi.
How are you?
Good, how are you? She wants to know about the deficit cancer of propane. She's got the information from Jackson Farms. She wants to get measurements with that. We won't deliver anything else until next week.
I think they will deliver that, but I think you gotta have a surcharge or something.
Well, she said they have some prepaid, but I guess she wants to go get some commissioners.
There may be a delivery charge on it, or anything that
That's what the money is.
Mhm.
use that for.
Is that the calculation? Gail?
Yes,
Hey, it's the Ashley County Commissioners. How are you?
we're here. On our propane, we're down to about 15%. It just dropped within a couple days, it really dropped it. There's prepaid from last year still on it. Somehow
Okay,
And it will last us the rest of this spring season, and then it'll go into next fall and last all next fall.
yeah, if that's what you need to get through, I don't have a problem with.
Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead and fill it out and make sure you send a purchase order in, but that's, I mean, so you're looking at, you said $200
$225.98.
yeah, that's, yeah,
It's like,
well, that's with the prepay out, I believe, right?
Yeah, because there was $75.90 left on the prepay.
Yes, that's fine.
Okay, and then this new commissioner start, we want to come in and meet him.
He's right here right now, Eric Knoll is on the line with you.
Hello,
Hello?
how are you today?
Yeah, pretty good. We'll come in the next meeting next week, and so we can meet each other, if that's okay?
Yeah, that would be fine. I would enjoy that.
Okay. Okay. And I want to let you guys know the Boy Scouts will be using the Boy Scout area the 28th and 29th of this month.
Okay.
And that'll be the one that comes out here from Troy.
Yeah, probably Travis Grossman, I assume. Yes.
But other than that, so far we haven't had anybody put up any reservations, so.
Yeah, it's been a little cold out to set up reservations to camp out, I would assume.
Well, one of them will start in February or March, setting them up for like family reunions and stuff like that through the month, through the year. We've had them set them, call around, set them up clear in October. Yeah, so far nobody has. Last year we only had 2 or 3 of them that did, so compared to the years before.
Yeah, we don't, did we decide we were not allowing hunting, is that right? Did we pass something on that?
Oh, we have those, that set of rules, huh? I have it memorized.
No, but we passed,
Yeah, I don't think there was any time.
yeah. You know that, right? Gail, there's no hunting allowed, is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
We had left the signs up this year, and we've only had one person that asked about calling about hunting, that hunted out here before, and we told them there was no more hunting or trapping, so.
Okay.
Just while we meeting people out here and heard stuff that we haven't caught anybody on the ground, so.
Okay, well, I'm sure if you have any issues, you can call the sheriff's department.
Yeah. Yeah, because there's not anyone anymore. The county is just, I know there wasn't one.
Okay. Okay, Gail, we have a couple other people here, we need to get on, but if is that all you needed?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, well, thank you.
Nice speaking with you.
Right.
Bye. Get Jack scheduled, now we got, you sure? But I didn't know we were having you up here.
Well, I actually didn't know I was gonna be here.
Oh, okay.
So I just stopped by, number one, meet Eric, and number two is gonna see if maybe we could set a time where I could come back and we could visit over the motor grader bid that you guys had out sometime, and I can work that through Matt. I wasn't able to be here when you guys opened
Our
bids.
last appointments, well, Jerry Cuthbert's going up at 3:30, but that's our last appointment, is that?
I don't think it'll be that long.
No. You want to stick around, well, you want to stick around for a little while, I mean,
Yep.
you know, we'd probably be 4 o'clock, I mean, that's probably your, you don't mind waiting around?
No, I got stuff I'm running around town here, I wanted to come by and.
Yeah, so I would say quarter till 4,
Okay.
you'll come back?
Yeah, that'll work.
Okay.
That'll be good. All right,
Thank
thank
you.
you.
Dean Hyger. Foley, Dean Hyger. Foley.
Fully equipped, yeah.
That's what I was mentioning.
I want to come up and, discuss the move of the communication center possibility with you any further, and if there's no other issues or concerns, to submit an official request for it, so.
We was talking earlier, you was thinking about June, that was about June, July.
June was the, well, that's the official one.
Oh, okay.
June was the date they gave us when we were in Chicago, that is a possibility to start the installation, but, it can be prolonged if needed. Just, the problem I think we're gonna find is that they're gonna have all the equipment installed exterior, and we'll be waiting on everything interior to be able to do the testing and everything like that. They originally projected September at the earliest, but things came through a lot quicker than expected, and, they don't, they thought June, July would be a better date, but, we've had some hang-ups with trying to figure out all our dock groups and things like that right now, so once we get that ironed out, then we can keep going forward to start programming radios and things like that, so. What, kind of timeframe would you guys need?
That's a good question. I think we can go with the insurance.
You said exterior stuff needs by June?
Yeah, they've already began, installing equipment out on the city water tower,
Oh, wow. Okay.
some of that stuff, so, I don't know where they're at with it, I'll be honest with you, so.
I would think 30 to 45 days out from now.
Well, wasn't it April that, or one individual said that he had a lot of meetings, that he would hate to have that happen in that time frame, but I think he was good for May on, wasn't he?
Yeah, the Fraser, Jim.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But as far as having meetings up here in the meantime, that's not gonna be an issue. And there's very little that we're gonna do to the room.
Right, but we got to, it's kind of one of them stair steps, one thing's gonna have to happen before another one happens, so,
But if we just blow that one room out and build that wall again, you have to talk about something there.
right,
You know, that probably is all.
right.
And it's something we're gonna have to
But we're gonna,
set a plan and start.
yeah, because still gonna have to accumulate it, you can't do it all, it's not a shell game, you can't move them all at the same time.
What's that?
Right now, we're looking at going down the basement maybe and making the office in the hall. Moving HR up to his office, moving our office to HR.
I just need it one.
And Jim Lamb would be the basic.
So in June, you're looking about 90 days, time frame.
Which I wouldn't think that configuring that in the basic would take too long,
No.
once they get started on it, but.
Okay.
I don't know how these government things, how long it takes one, so I don't know.
Okay.
Well,
Fine.
Are we looking at
Double or triple what you think it should take, yeah.
or, like, cheap?
Okay, well, just with the commissioner, I'll probably
We're
forward
gonna
this.
look at some of the storage areas down there, but the
Well, to get
easiest,
your,
cheapest fix is just go out there and turn the custodian
to get
and
your
roll
money.
that room out and make it
And
all
kind
clear
of
right
see what
across the wall, that's what it is. And then start getting HR into his room, which is not gonna take long, and then, cause I think the desk and everything not getting from us moved to down there, is gonna take a while getting the desk made. I don't think these are gonna work.
Okay.
Yeah, and
I'm
the
just
HR
going
room.
with this.
Drop this down.
These aren't gonna work.
But they're, like, those are so huge. It's overkill. Not that they couldn't be used maybe somewhere else, but.
Okay,
Yeah, I'm sure we could repurpose them.
yeah, I'll be downstairs.
But the single desk could go into, wherever, but this would be.
It looks like it's
Okay, thanks.
definitely two-piece, but I
Okay.
don't know.
There's a piece right over here in there, Steve,
But I think it's a,
last week with these.
How about this
Under
wall?
these purchase.
Seen right
in front of you.
Yeah, there's a single desk on the bottom.
Opinion council.
Probably had to do that to the top. Probably had to do it.
But with these captions underneath here,
Let me ask you this, I know you had, this isn't feasible for dispatch, dispatch.
No, I see.
there's so many wires that go to each
Okay.
desk that
You gave
you
me
can't just have them exposed to like they are now.
Okay.
And that was the problem with, we discussed the current spot, that those desks are feasible to get.
Yeah, so there's like a little, so like down on the base, so
What's
we
that?
have to have that space ready for appraiser to move him down the basement, so that, there's like a small closet, so taking that out, making that one, and being around that vault, and then we can start, so I can have motor vehicle move into,
Motor vehicle, motor vehicle,
we're not moving him into Jim Lampy's office?
that's what HR is going on.
HR, oh, small for HR, isn't it?
I thought that, the last discussion we had was, last Tuesday was that we were gonna be.
Motor vehicles.
Yeah,
Well, I thought that's when we were gonna talk about moving ourselves into motor vehicles. I didn't,
Well, it was either, the only two spots we got are motor vehicle or where the HR is right now, or those are our only two options. The configuration that Roger had this morning was that HR office is slightly larger than the,
Although, push come to shove, Jack, we wouldn't have to have our area ready before you started up here. I mean, we could meet.
The only things that we would be doing are things that you could work around, would be drilling a few holes in the floor that we could cap, so it wouldn't be even an issue. As far as then, just getting things ordered, the biggest thing is the time frame to get things put to, to fit, the way they need to be fit. Takes a little time to get over them. We just haven't been able to get them definitely here and there, so. But as far as anything done up here, it's going to take that long.
So, what you're saying, see, we're gonna sit down and decide.
Correct.
You're thinking put the HR where the motor vehicle, the driver's license moved into Jim's office?
that's two people, I mean, motor vehicle's only one person. And space-wise, to fit two people into Jim Lampy's offices.
unless we would just go to motor vehicles and bypass the step.
I think that other room's a little bigger, isn't it, the HR room?
Yeah. That'd be the only thing, it seats, it's big configuration, show like 14.
You'd be gaining 5 people.
Yeah. You wouldn't need that for every meeting, but you would have occasional meetings where you'd have possibly.
Even that, couldn't we set chairs up, if we had an overflow crowd, you've got this whole area here, we could set chairs up temporary for, if we had a big crowd or, well, we could see people out there if we was gonna have an overflow. couldn't we?
Possibly. The other thing would be, it's probably just a minor thing, but you do have an entrance to, they put in a bathroom on the first floor, you do have an entrance to the bathroom to the commissioner right next to it. I mean, not saying that that's ideal, but.
Isn't that right here? Okay.
That's some minor thing, but I mean, I don't.
I mean, I don't know.
That's just
I thought of it. Well, we haven't got that far yet.
That's true.
But,
We kind of basic layouts of everything.
but the less people we have to move, the quicker and the easier it's gonna be a process.
Right.
The only other thing to go along with leaving, motor vehicles where they're at would be, there wouldn't necessarily be any issues of HR going through that doorway with the appraiser as is, the appraiser's little entry, where Michelle's at.
Yes.
Sure.
But with the public, either we would have to put up some type of, barrier to keep people honest, out of there. And she asked me today when I was doing the sheriff's on Friday, what was gonna happen, and there's a lot of stuff in her office that could go, that needs to go, really, she said.
Which office is this?
Michelle's.
Okay.
Where it would open up enough space to put some type of a barrier there, but then you run into issues of, she doesn't think heat would ever be an issue, but the cooling part would be.
Do you think that'd be big enough to put HR in there?
I don't know.
It's
It's
bigger
been a
than
while since I've been in there, but, he's got a pretty good sized desk in there, so I don't know, what's the square footage, does it say?
We didn't have a thing on that, did we? We didn't have a schematic.
Yeah, I think he did.
I went in his office
I think he did, I think it was.
a couple times, and it wasn't about the size of the office, size of the building.
Layout appraiser room, human resources layout appraiser room, wouldn't that be it?
Yeah. It might be bigger than I thought.
I'm pretty sure it's on his desk in there.
That would be easier, but from a standpoint of not having to move them out. If that's big enough, then that'd be fine with me.
See, that way we're just bringing them downstairs.
Correct.
And moving HR there.
Correct.
So what closet are you going out?
It would be down in the basement. It would be down, there is, when you come down the east stairs, straight to your left, there's like a table, credenza, I don't think what else is in front of it. There's a white door vault. Then you got Tom's, you know where Tom's
Okay.
Tom's
Like
office is?
Papers and stuff?
Yes.
I can do that.
We noticed one pile of paper down there in the, what was that, the first vault, right back to the papers were rotten on the floor.
Is that what's on the desk?
Pardon me? It'd be the first vault this way, wasn't it?
Is that, which side is
Is it by the men's bathroom? That's mine.
it's right by the electrical.
Okay, when you go in there, there's some black plastic cover.
Yeah, that's my vault.
Okay, back on it, you got some papers down on the floor, you can tell it's going bad.
Oh.
I don't know.
Oh, in the corner, okay.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Probably.
And then we went down to the boiler room, and looked at that one room where it looks like that's kind of dull. Kind of depressing. You ever been down there? It's a mess.
It's been a while. I first started.
It's a mess down there.
I agree with that, that should be cleaned up. That's just rotten boards and junk. I think he said he cleaned out some, but it's.
The hall was better.
Yes, I was gonna tell him when I seen that was much better. See, I thought Tom did downstairs, and he said, no, Derek did, so I was gonna try to catch him, thank him, and that's good.
No, Dirk did.
Yes.
Well, we had he had a closet in his office, it's always been used for jail, uniforms and coats and that type of stuff. We just wanted to put it in with the rest of the executive stuff, he put all that stuff in the organizing his closet, and he's got some shelves in the building. It's not right now.
It looks better, that's right, of course,
Yeah, it's big enough, I'm fine.
Yeah,
Then we don't have,
getting added.
so basically we have to Grazer downstairs.
And
have
that's,
in this office.
and that's put us in the human.
HR, yeah,
And
in the HR room. That way you don't have to move motor vehicle. That's fine with me. I didn't, that room is bigger than what sometimes I think.
It's probably the nicest looking office in the courthouse, for what I've been.
Which room?
The
Appraisers.
appraisers.
The biggest,
It is.
It's
He
got
even
quite
said
a-
that it was right there, it's got the windows and, yeah, it's nice
Mhm.
office.
So what are you wanting from us? You're wanting a commitment saying, yes, you're getting this room, or?
Yeah, the biggest thing is so we can, bid out more, get more bids on the actual desk, so we didn't wanna tie up too many vendors on it until we had a confirmation that this is the setup that we're gonna have, otherwise we're gonna have to custom fit a different style in there, to where it's all accessible, so.
And then where are we gonna take the money out of the courthouse now, so if we have to spend $3,000, to put someplace up at $2,000 or whatever?
Yeah, well, this would be separate
Well, this,
from that.
I'm talking
Yes.
about, I'm talking about down there.
You'd have to. I mean, I don't think we're talking a whole lot.
Well, you're gonna have to get new desks for the commissioner room, so there's,
Yeah.
gonna be more what you think.
Probably need to get an estimate on what we're looking at for that.
Maybe we
took that part right there, it's almost too short for 3 people. So
Well,
maybe
you've
not.
got these doors under here that are built into it, you know, I'm saying you can't squeeze us together because we're separated by,
That's what's on top of it.
yeah, that is the
Yeah.
structure.
Yeah.
What are these? What are these?
That's too wide to fit in down there, in that area.
Oh, I'm sure. it would-
That's 14 foot, what's the width of the room in there?
There weren't dimensions on the I saw, it said a quarter inch equals a foot or something.
I can't really imagine it being much less narrow, much narrower than the courtroom B, which
You just have to have enough room to get around it.
is,
It's right at like 14, I think, wide. It says 14 feet.
Yeah, quarter inch.
I'll say 14 too. We're at 14 feet 2 inches according to this, the old boundary.
I think that measures out to be around 14, I think. It's not gonna be used anywhere, you could definitely upgrade the courtroom B, make it look a little better. These,
What's that?
you could upgrade courtroom B with these, make them look, courtroom look a little nicer.
That's a possibility. Repurpose it.
If that would be interesting. Not sure after last week. Then, our, not that this makes much of a difference, but we do have a couple of workers who would probably be very helpful in anything we need to do, so, inmate workers. Our offender is back, but he hasn't been sentenced quite yet, so.
What do you mean?
He's been sentenced on one charge, but we're waiting to be sentenced on the other before we allow him to do anything.
They did a crime over.
Possibly, I don't know.
Have you got your paint sample picked out for that bathroom? We could fix it, spruce that up a little
I'll
bit.
ask Joe if he's got it.
But the, there are certain things we have to do, I mean, as far as codes and all that stuff, at the city, do we have to install all of that, any type of construction that we do in there, or?
It's probably just a permanent process.
Yeah, we'll cover it, we need to do it, it's privilege.
I know Joe can do a lot of electrical work, so
Yeah. He was up here earlier, I don't know if he's still in here.
maybe we can stay down as a cell, do something else.
Right now?
In Dirk, yeah, last time,
Would it?
I'll go down and see if it's still.
Yeah. But, I don't know if you can call him or, I don't know. Yeah, his radio. Yeah, why don't you do that, see if he's here, we can at least get him.
We do have, well, I gotta send an update to everybody on the board about Chicago still, and then I was waiting on Motorola.
Board member too.
Okay.
You want to know when you guys will meet.
Second Wednesday, of the month.
Second Wednesday. Time.
That's a good question. 2 or 3 o'clock, I'll let you know though. Does he have email for that?
County, if you have one for county, you have to have his own personal one.
Yes.
Well, you'll have to get Wes to have his county one.
Just right now.
we could move Jim down there to that cul-de-sac test right away, and then get HR on there and get us out of here. You said the second.
Correct.
Second Wednesday,
There's,
I think,
yeah, technically nothing to add on. Well, this is official.
And we're doing-
Well, yeah, say,
generally not here.
I have, in this room, we don't, I have all three of us.
But
So that could speed things up for us.
And then you'll email me the time on that.
Yep, I'm pretty sure it's for, I'll email it, but
And the funds for this will come out of 911, correct? All this.
for any of the extra purchases, that, for the dispatch center itself, it's about
That state copy of that letter, or
this, the desks are down there, we'll do the same one, it's not included in that local purchase.
Now, do we need to make a motion for this?
No, I just kind of agree.
we should need a motion to,
Let's just have a copy, so I can,
yeah.
You want a copy of the sign one?
We can just sign another one, can't we?
doesn't matter, just.
We are in the middle of, the biggest issue right now is getting channels that the top group set up for each department heads are supposed to be looking at that and kind of figuring out what they want, and we'll submit those
Yeah, I think we should.
to get the radios programmed, and there's that. But besides that, everything has shipped. It's all to go, sorted right now, so, and then once we get everything lined out as far as programming channels and everything, we'll move forward with that.
Let's just come back, Jack, then.
Unless if you don't want it, I can take it. But if any help moving or whatever, there's things like that, we can take care of all that, anything that's up here, be more than happy to carry those TVs down.
Those are yours.
Which ones? Oh, these.
Anyway,
What were these used for? Just.
Must have been video, something.
video court is what they're originally for.
So those.
Oh.
They had the same setup as the main
Oh,
one,
yeah.
with those cameras like
That's a
that,
good idea.
and they had no monitors, I think they took those out on that. It was only used a few times, and judges didn't care for it, I don't think, and I don't think it was as necessary as I thought it was gonna be.
Again, the lawyers didn't care for it either, they couldn't talk to their clients, and so.
Yeah. Basically, they would do, it was, the idea was to bring them up on the elevator, the ones that are actually in jail, to do their first appearances or whatever, right here, so we didn't have to take them across and to courthouse, but it didn't last.
Really, it's in that visitor room, this was the only place I remember when they did it, it was in that visitor room, further on. Those cameras in there. There's a cabinet in there with TVs, or there was, I don't know if there still is. But these phones here, there's one down there, if you pick it up, that's the lawyer that's supposed to be able to talk to his client.
I don't think that. I guess you might be.
Yeah, so, well, that's either all the lawyers were down there, they can talk to their clients, or they were all.
How long has it been sitting there?
Oh, maybe that's.
Oh, no, that's.
That's for our copy.
That's your copy. You can push that in and that will show you, where the bridges are.
Oh, this is for me, okay. Yeah, we decided, we'll point it to the same one. Yeah, so let's, Make a motion to, appoint Eric Knoll to the boards of Multnomah County Health, Northeast Kansas Citizen Action Program, Northeast Kansas Environmental Services, and I think he's also on the Joint Communications Committee.
I so move, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. I'll second that. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye. I guess I can do it.
Aye.
See you later.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Yeah, if you see Joe or something like that,
I'll yell at him right now if you see it.
yeah.
I'll let you know if it's here.
Yes.
When we get all the stuff, is it safe to just throw it away, or like if I take it home, or if there's things that we aren't gonna use, I mean, we're like securities, the things that we're gonna need to,
These rooms are generally supposed to be locked, at all
I
times.
mean,
Oh, you know,
Waste
what
it.
he has?
you know, like, can you throw things away here, if it's things that, you know.
We have a little spot right over here. We're probably gonna have to do that together, because my cabin's are full, and I come this close of cleaning out my stove, no, Mom kept it there for a while, so I'll have to clean it.
This whole thing's full over here, but, you know, I just got thinking about security. I mean, what is getting rid of things that, I don't know if it would be sensitive or not, but.
If you have anything that, I mean, 'cause the Human Services is gonna start spreading some of my old records, so if you have anything, we can put it in a trash bag and I'll pick them up at the same time. And
Okay.
spread them. At a cost, it's not very much, it gives them something.
Well, you know, just so the guy don't get in trouble, you know, it's like somebody came up with something, oh, here's a plan for,
Yeah.
for this, and it's like, well,
Look how much they paid for that.
yeah. Or we're talking about it, because I know, just the amount of paper that gets handed to, you know, and you read through it, but then, what do you guys do with all yours? You put it in files?
So, but I mean, I really wish we'd got more electronic instead of just getting all paper.
I like reading it on the paper, but then you got the problem with the typical way to do it, yeah. And it's not that I'm throwing a lot of stuff, I'm just throwing trash, but there's things that, you know, you're gonna read once and it's just gonna be gone.
Yeah, we really need a whole bunch of stuff like this. Some stuff.
Yeah, I think that's too.
That's the main factor.
Yeah, it shouldn't have been said. Nobody spread it around. Huh? No. Don't cough on me.
We're ready for you.
I'm here.
We saw you on the agenda.
Huh?
We saw you in the agenda, so. The agenda today.
Yeah. I didn't have anything, I had a memo that said to make appointments with them.
Just
We're
one
gonna start
monthly
meeting
department.
the department.
Huh?
Just a monthly department.
Okay.
Yeah. We've been talking about doing it for quite a while, but we've never seen it like ever actually implemented where we had, you know, each department had their elected officials just coming up and, you know, we're trying to, we haven't established an official format, but any budget update, office concerns, any, you know, future needs, you know, just kind of general.
Yeah.
You can spend 15 minutes if you want, you can spend 5 minutes with us.
Okay. I don't have any issues at the moment, so, unless you do. I don't.
You know, this never gets talked about, it's something I should maybe mention to you. Dana has been doing and Jerry have been doing a lot of collection of past due criminal fines and court costs and stuff like that. When somebody goes to prison, when they get out, the parole people just basically say, you know, as long as you don't kill anybody, you're not sitting back. And, they've been going through and finding those people and collecting,
Yeah, I don't think I remember there was like $10,000 collected, but I remember never hearing anything after that. That's probably been about a year or so ago.
Yeah, we don't really track it.
Yeah, a lot of it goes to the state. A lot of it is into the state
treasury, but, Dana's all over it. You know, I would guess she collects a tune of $100,000 a year. She's all over it.
That goes to the state?
A lot, most of it. Some of it is court-appointed attorney fees. We try real hard to recoup those attorney fees from people, partially because they ought to pay it, but secondly, so it goes back into the pool to make more services available. You know, in that regard, an issue that does come up, the state has a $100 application fee to apply for a court-appointed lawyer. So in court, we are always making people on felonies pay the $100 because the state assesses it. And I don't know if you guys have ever considered doing that. The rule is if you make bond, if you pay a bondsman, you have to pay $100 to apply to get a court-appointed lawyer. And, you know, in the course of a year, that adds up to a lot of money.
We've had a couple of fees that we've, been discussed a little bit. That's one of them.
Yeah.
That would be free, they apply on misdemeanor.
Okay.
It applies in felonies now, but not misdemeanors.
So that $100 will stay with the county then?
Yes.
Well, we need to do it.
Yes, I mean, you know, when you've got 500 cases a year, and if you collect $100 out of half of them, it's a pretty good chunk of change that could go towards defraying the cost of court-appointed counsel. But the theory is, if you can afford to pay Bob Staley $2,500 or $5,000, you pay the county $100 towards your attorney fees. And what happens is, the next time they come to court, if they haven't paid the $100, their bond is revoked and they go back to jail. So they always pay it. We have no trouble collecting that. And it actually would be smoother and simpler in the courtroom if just everybody had to pay the $100. Instead of, oh, this is a state one, we got to collect it, oh, this is a county one, let's don't fool with it. So, yeah, it's something that would be some money coming in that I think you should think about assessing.
Yeah, so we just need to, I mean, do we have something in writing that we would have on that, or?
Well, you have to adopt a resolution.
Yeah.
To do it and have a policy. There's also actually a statute that allows you to have a resolution to collect the costs of detaining people that are convicted, not pre-trial, but after they're convicted. I don't know how collectible that is, but if you got any of it, it would be a good thing. And, gosh, what was the other one? Oh, medical, which I think you pretty much do now, have them pay their own way.
The application fee they tend to pay without hesitation because they don't go back to jail. The other ones don't work that way.
To me, that one there, $100, that's an easy fix. The other ones might be tougher to get.
Yeah, the cost of housing is gonna be hard to collect. They'll say they can't afford it, but
And the misdemeanors, do we summon them, or are they warrants?
I rarely do a summons. You know, I bet I don't do 5 summons a year. I do a warrant almost everything because that way it's the bondsman's problem to get them here. If we send them a summons and they don't show up, then we're issuing a warrant anyway. And the only ones that do those on are medical people. Like if somebody has a wreck and they're drunk, I'll send them a summons because we don't have to pick up the hospital tab.
So how many misdemeanor cases do you think we'd be talking about here? 5,000?
I think you're talking, 300.
Sure.
And most of them have court-appointed lawyer. We have about 500 criminal cases, but then the DUIs don't count in that. And the driving while suspended don't count. So, I don't know, 300, 350. And most of them, out of 300, 220 of them get a court-appointed lawyer.
So in the past, Mr. Staley bonds them out and he gets the $100 back then, or nobody gets $100?
There's no $100.
There's no $100.
He gets 10%. If their bond is $5,000, you know, they're paying him $500 to get him out of jail. This would add another $100 to the county.
Unless it's a felony, right?
Right.
If it's a felony, that's state mandated, a
Yeah.
$100 fee.
You know, that resolution first thing tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
Not tonight, but I'll let y'all.
Spend a meeting at your house tomorrow.
I agree.
You start with
We could.
I think that's something that
Yeah, you know,
should be done.
Yeah,
and they turned in 25,000, but I don't know what you spend on court-appointed attorneys in a year, 120,000 or whatever. Yeah, at least it offset it a little bit.
I think it's anyhow, I think it's more than that.
Is it?
It's a
Wait,
little.
500 a month?
It's, well, we've got 4 and they're 2,100 a month
Yeah.
each, I think.
10,000 a month.
No, like 4.
4,
So 400.
yeah, just under 10, just under 10 a month.
We get roughly a third of it back.
Offset some costs.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it'd be smoother in the courtroom if we just
Yeah.
put it on everybody.
I agree with that. That's gotta be a mess. That's gotta
You
be.
know, because it'll come up and they'll say, oh, no, Judge, this one's a misdemeanor, and oh, let's back up. And we just do it across the board.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty good, that's a good suggestion. Why don't we do that?
Will we have any, vote from Donna? Is that something she's gonna have to?
I don't think she'll care. Might be easier for her too, because it'll be in every case that way.
She's an automated on the system.
Sounds like plenty to me.
That'd be something that they do in the full court system?
But I couldn't tell you.
Sorry, just asking, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know anything about is the county on full court? It probably is, I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, it is,
they
we
do.
can get a record of what's been paid.
Yeah, they've got some kind of accounting deal on it.
That's where we zip. Meet 15 minutes, make 25, right?
Yeah, you set the bar.
See what happens when we meet more often?
There you go.
Can the other department heads do that?
Not today so far, I don't, well, we talked about maybe return of solid waste on something, but other than that, no.
Yeah. But Dana enjoys, for some reason, the challenge of squeezing money out of, because we've been, you know, I've got other counties that argue with me about it, but I send garnishments. If the judge assesses court costs and fines, if they've got a job, we send a garnishment to their employer immediately. And I've had other counties ask me, can you do that? I don't know that it's ever been tested, but it's working.
Well, we have a statute that says it's a judgment, so,
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like you're doing it without any.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like it's
A rogue decision.
illegal, but,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know that it's ever gone up on, nobody's challenged us on it, so. We keep garnishing and we get checks daily coming in on garnishments.
Yeah, I don't think there's a problem with that. If we have a resolution drafted for next week, I think we'd be very apt to pass that and sign it. Get it implemented. I mean, how soon, just get like a trial period? I mean, or would you say like March 15th, or, I mean, we have to start it, let's say at the first time?
No, I don't think it would be immediately,
Okay.
Every day that goes by, you miss a little bit of money.
we might.
Retroactive.
We'd have to publish it, so it'd be effective on publication, so if you're talking about a week.
Okay. That's standard, 2 weeks.
Sounds good.
That's good, thanks for coming up.
Yeah. All right.
It's kind of informal this first month, but, you know, we developed some sort of formal process, we'll definitely.
Okay.
It's just kind of 5 to 15 minutes, just keeping in communication with everybody.
Yeah. Yeah, if there's anything you want out of me, let me know what it is and I'll bring it with me, but I may have the smallest budget, I don't know. No, Fisher D's mine, I don't know.
Okay, like, maybe.
You probably get more than I do.
Is that right?
Yeah, sure. Probably do.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Nothing official, but right now we're looking at, HR going to Mr. Lampy having an office made in the basement someplace, and we go to HR.
It's probably a good location for you.
Yeah, it's pretty highly accessible.
Central and
Down on the main floor, that's where we should.
visible.
Yeah.
It used to be like a magistrate court,
It's
isn't it?
probate
Or
court.
probate court, sorry.
Before my time, but we used it as a courtroom. It's a good location if it's big enough.
Might have like
It looked like Roger drafted, like, what, 19 people possibly could fit?
19
19
spectators, and
It's pretty good size, I think. I mean,
That sounds like a good idea.
yeah.
Eric hadn't got official nameplate.
no,
It's
but I'm
on
official.
Got your letter from the governor
There
today.
you go, it's just on paper.
Oh, okay, okay. I didn't even look at that.
I'm
It's on
not,
its way, it just hasn't gotten here yet.
I didn't even notice that.
Good enough. Okay.
Thanks for coming up.
thank you.
All right, we got that resolution drafted and passed, and
Sounds good.
good suggestion, thank you.
All right.
You ever think of anything else?
Gary, County Government Day is on March 24th.
Okay. That'll work.
I didn't do it during spring break, so.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Supposed to be after spring breaks for the students, I think, is what,
that's after spring break.
Mm-hmm.
yeah. I don't think there's a docket that day, is there?
No.
One year we had something, remember there was like something that came up like last minute, that was actually pretty good, because we had
You know,
kids in there.
and Judge Ash and I talk about it every year. It'd be great if we had a minor possession or transporting alcohol or something like that. You know, because you.
Good lesson, you mean?
No, because it'd be a 30-minute trial, and the kids could see something really happening, and something interesting and pertaining to them.
Well, you still might have something.
There was one, well, was it last year or 2 years ago? There was one that came up last minute, and somebody came in the courtroom, it was Judge Bednar, and their cell phone went off, and he like made a point of,
Sure.
and those kids really gotta wake up.
Yeah.
So it was actually a pretty good experience, I thought it was a good experience.
That's right.
Yes.
That's
Was it
right.
last year or 2 years ago?
Last year.
It was last year, okay.
I believe it was last year.
I can't remember what the case was, but it was.
We need to put something in there that. The kids watching would be a lot better than just standing there talking. about it.
Correct.
I have to believe we just had a suppression hearing or
Yeah.
a speeding trial or something.
Yeah.
Driving on suspended.
About a year ago, we had a government class from Mar Hill come one day. It just so happened it was a sentencing of a 19-year-old guy who had sex with a 15-year-old girl. And they brought in a mental health guy to testify about the kid's status and everything. And it turned into quite a hearing, and those kids got quite an education.
Yeah, that could be interesting.
Yeah. All the 19-year-old seniors are going, oh, man.
We went to school with them 2 years ago.
Yeah, that was also there that day.
Yeah, that's right.
One of their classmates was offended, yeah. Decked out in a jumpsuit.
Eye opener.
Yeah, it's,
Scared straight program, don't they call that?
They always like the tour to the jail, I know that.
they love that. They love that.
Yeah.
You know, it's interesting when we have visitors, when they bring inmates up to the courtroom, and to see people in handcuffs is real shocking to people. Oh.
Something you only see on TV.
Yeah.
You don't see.
When they bring them up in those orange jumpsuits with handcuffs on, this room is silent. So, anyway. Okay, well, March 24th, I'll put it down.
I sent an email, I sent it out.
I'll go mention it to the judge, see if we can find something to put on for kids.
On the 31st, they were supposed to, Jerry
Oh,
tried.
actually planning it out.
I'm not gonna touch that. I'll be here the 24th.
Well, see, that one last year when kids were in there,
She,
kind of wasn't, I don't know what the case was.
Yeah, there was something.
I don't know, somebody interrupted in the middle of it, their
Sure,
phone,
I know.
the woman's cell phone went off, and Judge Bednar was not happy at all. He doesn't like it that happening at all, I know that.
No, he doesn't. He's kind of mellow. When he first came from Leavenworth, your phone went off. You better look out.
Yeah, but that's so easy to forget to turn that off.
Well, I know, like, those kids got, they were like, all kinds of, all the kids were like turning off, they're making, they were turning,
Mine
just
was off,
checking.
theirs was on.
I see him in the car, I know he's taking the
Yeah. All right.
Well, thank you.
Okay, we'll see you.
Dean,
How are you?
pretty good, how are you?
Good. Eric, Dean Hager, with Foley Equipment. Yeah, you do. See you again. Henry, how are you? I just wanted to come back. I had mandatory meetings, training for me when you guys were doing your the bid rating on the motor graders.
Yeah.
I could not be here, I mean, it was,
That's what he said, you're standing, I can't remember.
yeah, John Ryan was.
Yeah, John, yeah.
Yeah, he's probably court rep up here in Ashland County, so. I know Matt, you know, we was disappointed we didn't put in a bid. But I kinda wanted to set up here and make sure you guys understood, you know, there's reasonings behind that. Total cost of bids are getting to the point where it's low bid, everything is low bid. For Foley and Caterpillar, what we're trying to do is to show the counties and the townships and stuff, lowering their cost of ownership by taking that ownership out over a longer period of time. You know, our motor graders are designed to run 10 years, 10,000 plus hours. For us to be competitive in a 5-year term, which is just constantly turning it, I mean, we are never gonna be the low bid. There's no way we can make that happen. The cost of ownership,
I hear a phone ringing.
I'm deaf, but I don't hear it. Creepy.
Sorry.
No, that's all right, you're good. I just wanted you guys to make sure you understood this wasn't we're just not gonna do business with Ashland County kind of that is by far the last thing that I want you guys to take away from this. We look at trying to take that ownership period out with the value of Caterpillar motor grader over, you know, the amount of time you guys want to own it. Maintenance costs are still low. I mean, we've got history to prove it. We got other counties who are running them, you know, it started 30 years ago, and they're continuing to run that cycle. We've had competitors come in to some of those townships and counties and bring in a motor grader here and there. And we've ended up with the same cycle of, come get those motor graders out, and we want to go back to where we were. We are seeing trends with our competitors, not just low pricing, but overstating values on buybacks, giving you a guarantee of X amount of dollars on a machine that if you did take it to market at that time, we feel you would not get that money unless you were guaranteed that buyback. So if you happen to, all you guys were gone in whatever, 3 more years, and you decided to keep a motor grader longer than your stated time, that goes away. It now becomes market value. It's whatever that machine's worth. It's not, you know, the guarantee is just the dealer guarantee. Foley and Caterpillar has always been market value. Our market value on motor graders is proven. We've got guys that will ask for a guaranteed trade number or something, just so they have something they can benchmark off of in 7 years, and we've done that in the past, and 90% of the time, they get a higher value than that when the time comes in, because motor graders work for it. So.
I have a question for you. It's quite obvious that John Deere knows that with the 5-year plan, Caterpillar can't compete. Okay, now Caterpillar's saying go in 10 years. So is that gonna be something that John Deere doesn't offer, so that gives Caterpillar the edge?
No, I think what you'll see, and just to give you an idea, last year alone, in the state of Kansas, if I got my numbers right, I think there was 104 or 106 motor graders sold in the entire state of Kansas. 70 of those were Cat. The other 30 or 34 were the other competitors. We have a lot of counties and townships who buy Cat, and it's not because we're the lowest, obviously, we're not. But it's because they can take their ownership periods out longer and we should last longer. We do not go in we do not want you turning them in. I mean, the value of the machine at 5 years is still a lot, but the value of the machine at 7, 8, 9, and 10 years is still fantastic. Plus it lowers your own operating costs.
Of those 105 or 7 sold, how many was just straight out purchased? How many were like the 5-year, 7-year, 10-year program? Do you have that?
I'd have to look. I'd have to go back and I'd have to go to my management team and ask them. what were outright purchases, or, they all governmentals, every one of them. Every one of our motor graders that were sold last year knew went to a governmental entity, whether that was a city, a county, or a township, some type of, government entity. So, and I can get you numbers, I can go back and research and find out if, how many of those were 5-year deals, 7-year deals, or just outright buys. I mean, I have counties that I'm working with.
What we kind of like about it, we know pretty much how much it's gonna cost us a year to have to own that patrol. But I know that when you're leasing, they're gonna make a little bit more money off of you than if you bought just straight. Cause they're gonna get your finance charge in there. And then, once you get committed to this, okay, we got 2 John Deeres, and 3 years from now, the first one will be ready to go. Are they just gonna inflate the price of their new one? Because we're guaranteed so much here, they can inflate the new price, and if Caterpillar can't come in and give us kind of what they're gonna offer, I mean, they kinda got you over the barrel again.
Yeah, and it's all about how you want to operate. Stopping inflation for 7 to 8 to 9 years' time is to your benefit. I noticed on some of the numbers I saw the other day that price went up, but their value dropped. They basically said the machine you bought last year is worth more money than the machine you bought this year. So you're gonna start seeing a trend that's gonna start happening here, that eventually that's gonna change. I mean, we're not gonna follow that trend, especially in the motor grader market. I mean, we don't need to be the lowest bid. We never have been. We never will. We try to show our value over the time period, whether it's in fuel burn, which we are better at, parts and service, the maintenance side, how long you can go without changing, oil, hydraulic oil, coolants, everything is going out over a long period of time. DEF filters, I mean, now you're running Tier 4 final as well, all of that. There's more advantages, I guess I should say. You know, it'd be easy for me to put it up on a piece of paper and show, here's the value of my machine versus competitors on a 7-year cycle, versus just, what's the cost of your machine up front? Who's the cheapest up front? Because our competitors are always going to be the cheapest up front. But I can show you on the back end where we not only catch them, but they'll pass them, and save you money over the long haul. I wanted to make sure you guys understood, the no bid was not a, you know, like, I know I told Matt, I said, well, I'll help you sell the motor grader. I know you didn't get a very good offer on the motor grader, and I think I can sell it, and we can get a buyer and just sell it direct. So, I gave him a number the other day, that we already have buyers.
What was that number?
32, I believe.
That's good.
Yeah, I mean, I'll let you guys talk to Matt. I mean, Matt, I was planning on coming up here with Matt, and then I called him to stop by, and he's in an oil meeting or something in Kansas City, so I would rather.
Oh, he's a kid, so.
Yeah, I would rather been here with Matt. I don't like to come up without him, so. But I'm also gone for the next 2 weeks, so.
Yeah.
I'm glad you came.
Yeah, well, I wanted to sit down with you.
Well, I'll tell you what, when we opened it up and there was no bid, we always kind of like,
Yeah, well.
kind of surprised.
And again, it's, the way the precedence has been set, it's like there's no way that you guys would have purchased our motor grader. I don't think that, I mean.
Could I ask you this? You know what the bid was. Where would Cat bid? 20,000 more?
Probably, more or less, yep. Probably about the same as we was last year. Yep. And it'll probably always continue to be in that range.
Yeah, we were just surprised there wasn't any bid. We
Yeah.
thought maybe we had done something or
No,
upset
I
somebody.
mean, again, so you guys understand, it does Foley or Caterpillar no bid to, I mean, if we know it's strictly a low bid, and this is happening a lot throughout the state of Kansas, last fall and into this year's, where it is strictly total cost bid, and that's it, you know.
We had certain standards. I mean, there was even there was a or different types that we need to consider, I mean.
Yes, and
As far as that bidding process.
I know that, I know that process, so.
So,
Yeah, and plus our 12M3 motor grader, something that I was talking to Matt about, it's a whole new beast. It does not, it is a bigger motor grader. It is not a 672 GP comparison. It is a 772 GP comparison. And if I was to bid a 12M3 Tier 4 final all-wheel drive for John Deere to have, or any competitor, but for them to match that machine, they would have to bid a bigger machine. Otherwise, they're on the small side. And we're usually the ones always on the big side, Caterpillar. I mean, usually there's competitors are a little bit underneath of us, horsepower, weight, everything else, and also less expensive for a reason. The way that machine is designed, the Tier 4 final has it, it's a truly bigger, better machine. So, and there's another reason, if to bid against a 672 would be like me bidding a size tractor bigger. I mean, if I wanted to bid a 672 comparable, I would be more apt to go with like a 120 all-wheel drive, which would be a little bit smaller machine than their 672, but I would have been closer as far as price, for sure. And that's what a lot of counties are doing out west and stuff, is they're having their competitors, they're building their specs and saying, this is what you have to meet to get here. You can't come in with a smaller or less horsepower. There's different criteria. So,
I'm glad you come up, because a year from now, or, no, maybe 2 years from now, when the subject's come up again, I remember, hold on, you used to get hold of county like you did last time, so.
no, and that's, again,
I'm glad you
I
come up.
wanted to be here. You have to understand, my superiors, I was in a mandatory meeting that week. It's a 3-day class that we have every year that we have to attend. Unfortunately, it was the same time you guys were your levy, so. And trust me, there was a lot of thought, and, I mean, we come up and inspect the machines, went through the whole process, and, you know, when we're looking at putting it down, it's like, you know, unless somebody was willing to say, hey, we'll look at spending more, if you can show us where that value is, maybe we can, you know, agree to spend a little more on a cat versus a competitor, but.
I'll tell you, I won't even look about $8,000, $10,000. Still,
I don't think we would have been,
you wouldn't, that's why I asked you how much difference would still be.
we wouldn't have been in that.
When you're going out 10 years instead of 5, you still have that same program, I mean, basically like you bought your John Deere, I mean.
That long, I probably wouldn't have.
They don't-
It'll vary, we've done 8 years.
I'll have to call you back, because I'm in a
We've
meeting.
done 8 years.
8 years.
Mm-hmm.
I just wondered now if that was a 5-year, if that was the standard, or.
No, I mean, and honestly, for us, we've always tried to get everybody to do, I mean, forever, since buybacks were invented. And a lot of people are trying to get away from that on the equipment side of it, but 7 years has always been, it used to be our minimum. It's like we were always done for 7 years or more.
So ours is 7 or 5?
the last two we've done have been 5 years.
Well, some of the reason why we did it there too is we have 4 machines, thought we could buy one and then skip a year and then maybe throw in a dump truck like we, you know, next year, we plan on buying no graders, but maybe possibly throw in a dump truck. But you could do that with 7 years too, just.
Okay, yeah, I'm just trying to get speed on what's going on and running.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I'm working with the county south of here, and like I said, they had the same issue. That they ended up with machines that they couldn't roll every 5 years, and they got machines, and now they're having to get out from under some of their competitor machines because the cost of maintenance has gone up too much. But we were able to show them the value of buying a cat from day one to that first life, and right now, their first life, they're running 13,000 hours before they even think about a rebuild or trading that in on that machine. So, and even there, on one of the machines that they brought in the other day, $85,000 on trade. This 13,000 hour machine that's 10 years old.
We just had a Bowman machine that's 300 hours over warranty, 100 hours over warranty, we spent $35,000 on the motor.
So Volvo was just over warranty.
100 hours over warranty, we spent $35,000.
Yeah, and there's different warranty packages. I mean, we have a lot of them who, they may wanna go 5 years on the Premier package where they've got electrical and everything else covered for 5 years, and they may go out 8 years on powertrain hydraulics. Basically covering everything that moves, yeah. So. But we can show the cost of ownership, I mean, it drastically changed over the long haul. Which, you know, I mean, obviously, the longer you own something, the lower your costs are. That's the other thing, you stop in inflation for 7, 8, 9 years versus rolling every 5. Because for us, that's a young machine. For us. That's why we tell, my goal is not to come in and try to sell you a motor grader every chance I can get. It's to get you a machine that best fits your fleet and what you need on your hours. I mean, the counties that we're working with now, they run about 1,200 a year, so we're like running 8 to 10 years, depending on what the hours you get, and you need to be well over 10,000 hours before you even start looking at a rebuild or replacement. We always give the 3 R's, repair, replace, or rebuild and replace, in that order, meaning you obviously want to get rid of something or rebuild it or replace it before you have a major failure. Major failures are not a good thing. Even if you're ready to rebuild something and the transmission goes out, it's going to cost you more now than it would have been before you had a failure to rebuild that machine. So, right now, we can rebuild 12 models. Anywhere from $120,000 to $140,000, you basically get a machine that's completely gone through down to the frame. Engine, torque converter, transmission, cab, all new lines. I mean, yeah, actually, we just rebuilt. Yeah, and we're getting close now on the M-Series. We're getting enough, I mean, we have enough M-Series out there that we're getting enough hours on it that the ends are gonna start coming through our rebuild shop before long. So, but that's a whole other, some people like that, it works for them, because now they turn a 10-year life into a 20-year life. Now they'll run that machine another 10 years, 10,000+ hours, and it comes out with more again. Comes out similar to a new machine. Repainted and refreshed. And you can spend less or more. I mean, you can go in and redo the entire cab, put new seats in it, and, you can do whatever. It's all about what needs to be replaced, and then budget. So, there's a lot of options, but anyway. I'll quit talking. I want to make sure you guys understood that this by no means was Michael mad about helping to sell the motor grader, so I know you didn't get a good offer on what you wanted. I'll be happy to go to our guys. I mean, we have buyers all over the world, so I'll let you guys talk to him as far as what you want to do. I don't know when your other one's maybe coming, if you need to wait before you move, if you can get by without one.
Yeah, like 3 months.
Well, when it was up there, he said that was good for 30 days, and then Matt said, talked to him later on, and said that you keep it till your new one comes in, but when the new one does come in, you're gonna have to do one or the other, so.
Yeah, so he may have to hold off on moving that one until the other one comes in.
45 days, probably.
Any other questions for me?
Can't think of anything.
Okay. Now, again, when you guys are ready to look at other stuff, I will be here. I'll probably give you a little more of a heads up as far as, honestly, I didn't know what I was gonna do until Friday, the day I dropped off papers to Matt. Looking at the numbers and going through and seeing, and we kinda know where John Deere's gonna be and what they're doing, and we see the trends throughout the state, so. All right, I didn't bring a card, sorry, I will drop off the card for you.
Okay.
So, yeah, at least I know I am.
You probably would have to, wouldn't you?
Yes, actually, if you wanna know the truth, I just left Steve Marlette's place, and Steve Marlette took every hat I had.
Well, tell Steve you gotta bring some here.
Yeah.
He
What'd
bought,
you sell it, what'd you sell it?
he bought a new excavator,
I see.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, same as your 320, like that the county has down there, he bought an E-Mall. So, yeah. I owed him hats and I had to wait, I told him, I said, I was out, and I said, the next time I get up there, I'll bring you hats, so. We'll get you some. Those are free of charge.
All right, thank you.
No motor graders attached to those.
Yeah.
Thanks, gentlemen.
Thank you again.
So we've got this high road risk application for the signage. Did you review that?
Yeah, I sent you guys an email this morning. There wasn't much to that. The one I got was 2 pages.
This was longer than that.
Yeah, it's about 6 or 7 pages.
Then I didn't get one.
2 copies of it.
You want that time here, didn't you? That time frame?
It was cost.
See, well, I had this page 1 of 4, it didn't have page 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, I looked over this one, you sent him out an email this morning, didn't you?
You're right, we scheduled it for next week.
Yeah, you're right. We still need probably at least 15 minutes.
But was it Joe gonna come up?
Well,
Jack?
Jack texted me and said that he was gonna, yeah, he thought Joe had left and was coming back up, so he was coming back up, so. I guess he did it. The high risk rates.
Does that take the place, you know, he's gonna do that one on 286 road?
From, to Bill. I thought he was gonna apply for that high risk road safety grant on 286 road from 73 Highway to, well, no, but I thought he was gonna turn back in for this year. Or if this one takes the place of that. or if this
Well,
is-
the way I got it, whoever he
The
thought,
different
we
one.
put up guaranteed that we'd get this.
Maybe this is a slightly different one.
It is.
Okay.
This is just a signs. And I think that's at 100%.
We retired 171 miles. Okay, that's the same, that's a copy.
So it's the same.
Yeah. We're okay with it?
Yes.
Doesn't list any costs, but.
I'm sorry?
It said it doesn't list any costs, but.
It's on the cover sheet.
I thought Matt said 100%.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the sign was 100%.
Anticipate maximum of $6,200. But that would be coming out of that. Okay, well, I'd entertain a motion to accept the high-risk, Harris Roads grant application to upgrade the signs, for Atchison County with Schwab Eaton.
I so moved, Mr. Chairman.
And I'll second.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
2-0. 2-0. Probably need at least a 15-minute, executive session on personnel matters and non-elected personnel.
Is that a motion?
Yeah, I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
So carry 3-0. They'll be with commissioners and county council.